right, let's do a cheers to the Sobeys and Safeway Liquid Beer for the podcast.
We ride again.
I love you guys.
Careful, that cake's hot.
Check-in, come on, let's go. It's the AM Nasty Big Hello.
Hello!
It's not static, AM radio. It's the Cool Ben Red Hot Nielson Show. Let's go. Everybody's tuning in, even my wife.
Mommy likes too.
And those Macromala intros are cutting like a knife. Hey, it's Mitch texting in, he's your dealer for life. Let's crack a 6 o'clock and lager with some sirloin bites.
Yes, indeed. Good morning. It is the Nielson Show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola, Joaquin Gage with you, and the Tinkerer, Zach to come in his best green and gold this morning. I hope you're doing well out there as we get set for the long weekend. Kind of like the unofficial end to the summer, Joaquin.
Yeah.
In a way, it feels like it.
This is it.
This is it.
Although this morning was a lot more enjoyable than yesterday morning. Yesterday was a little bit more of a chill in the air.
Yeah,
it felt like fall.
Felt like fall.
This morning I walked out and I was like, gosh, it's still kind of summer. But supposed to have a good weekend, Tommy. It's supposed to be nice.
30, 31.
Yeah, so Sunday or Monday, around there.
Bring it on.
That's not bad for one last final blast of summer. We could always use it.
You know, when you say you're walking your dog yesterday around 6 and you said you could feel that little bit of fall.
Yeah.
I always think of it as like Mother Nature giving us that like warning shot. You
it's
dirty devil, you.
It's always nice when the middle of summer you get it's bright out, you know, you're like and you get outside, the sun's up, birds are chirping, but now it's just a little bit more subdued, you know. But I'd always equate this time to the beginning of the year because I would be playing hockey somewhere, and it always felt like a fresh start. So look at it that way, even though
that's good.
Yeah,
but it's an exciting time in sports. Like everything's gearing back up. You're literally watching P1 of F1. We're in Monza this weekend.
Just went off.
I have no qualms with that whatsoever. And I called McLaren last week. I thought it felt like they had good momentum, and they really do have something good going.
Well, the funny thing is when Lando won the last race, he said on the radio, "Simply lovely." That's what Max always says.
Oh, shot!
It was kind of a shot across the bow for a guy that's won 2 races. So it's
he's got a long way to go to catch Max.
Exactly.
Good for him.
No, it's we had Tim on the beginning of the week, and he was confirming what I thought was true, that next year is going to be absolutely bonkers for F1. I mean, even the end of this year, it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to come down to the wire here.
We're getting parity.
Yeah, between more than 2 cars.
Right.
So this is exciting, man. And unfortunately for old Logan Sargent is no longer in in F1, but
Nobody saw that coming.
well, there was rumors that he was going to be gone before the summer break, and yeah, they just couldn't. They couldn't do it. He crashed the car.
Did he get any points? I think it was you that used the term he picked up where Nick Latifi left off.
He basically,
right? Like
yeah,
a non-factor.
Basically, he did. He was just, yeah, he was a non-factor.
Yeah.
And you know, when people don't perform and they talk about, it's just kind of, I'm like, geez, just do something resembling anything,
right?
You know, just don't finish last all the time, or be competitive. Don't cost your team money. That's the biggest thing. Like, you're costing the team money by not being competitive, A, and B, crashing the car with all the new upgrades that were just brought to a team that's, you know, it. Obviously, all those teams are quite wealthy, but I don't think Williams are at the same level as some of the top ones, right?
New ownership too, right?
Yeah.
Relatively new. And if you have been following F1 for a little while, or if you got into it right around the same time, I think, Gager, you got in a little bit before me, but I think you told me about Drive to Survive, that crazy season with the finish between Lewis and Max. It was the Latifi self-induced crash that caused the chaos and the controversy, and Max to go ahead of the pack that he was about to lap. And that was like just a poorly managed turn, if I recall correctly.
Oh, yeah. And there was just a few laps left.
Yeah.
He was way in the back. There was no reason
Non-factor.
Yeah. And he became, I guess it was pretty bad too. Like his email, and he had to get off social media because people were just so mad at him for costing Lewis his 8th championship.
I don't know if Lewis will get that,
but
yeah.
Logan Sargent this year, 0 points.
Nice.
So
He's off to IndyCar likely. Okay, we're off and running on the Nielson Show, brought to you by South Fort Chev. This month's incentive is employee pricing. Once again, here's what they are promoting. Save up to $12,000 on a new Tahoe or Suburban. They've got an excellent availability when it comes to stock, and the Tahoe apparently is the jewel there. Actually, Belsey's been talking about Tahoes a lot lately.
well, he's going to need it.
Yeah, well, he's got baby 2 on the way.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I was always I always wanted a minivan.
Really?
Yeah. They're fun to drive. They got some. They're nice. They're roomy.
They are very practical.
Yeah, they are. But
Yeah.
it was. You know what the biggest thing is when you were. You're driving your little munchkins all over the place and trying to get them in the car and into the car seats. It was awful because you're opening the door and trying, especially if they didn't want to get in. But hitting the sliding door, and you could just kind of chuck them in like a hockey bag.
Yep.
I saw them, like I was doing it one time, wrestling with one of my kids, getting them in, and some woman came by me, clicked her button, the door slid in, her kid just walked in, got in her seat, and I was just like, yeah, I was like,
dream.
you want to trade?
We were a minivan family. I had 2 brothers.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have 2 brothers, and so it was a Plymouth. It was a Plymouth Grand Am, I believe. Or Grand Caravan.
Okay.
Before it became Chrysler, and before it became, now what would it be?
Plymouth.
What's a Grand Caravan now? Dodge.
Yeah.
Now it's a Dodge,
Yeah.
right? And then we had a Pontiac Montana. And then my brother, dad, and uncle and I rented a Grand Caravan for our golf trip. And I'll tell you what, it was very comfortable.
I bet.
And we also killed a deer.
Oh, nice.
In Idaho. And that was a problem. We had to get a new van. Anyway, we have a great show for you, as always. We do have some news to get to in the National Hockey League. It's not pleasant, and we will pass that along very shortly here. But we do have Hernan Salas, who will be co-hosting EST Afternoons with Joaquin Gage, starting on Tuesday from 1 to 3 p.m., Monday to Friday, and we're super excited about that. Gage, are you ready to go? Has it like sunk in? You have an everyday show on this station. I know you help us out on pre and post game. You've helped out on Hello Hockey. You're on this show quite a bit. You're also 2 Guys in a Goalie Thursdays and Tuesdays, but now you have a show with your name all over it. You don't have to share it with two other people, like two guys and a goalie.
Yeah, it's about time.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's exciting. I'm lucky to be working with Hernan, I think, and seeing how excited he is to be back into the fold. We were talking about way back when, and Hernan came on a hangout, I think, at the beginning, and Reed was on one of the first hangouts too, I think, and I just I was here for both times, and I just remember Reed kind of walking out, and it was kind of like he wasn't saying anything, but he was just looking around, going, "Yeah, yeah." You could just see the wheels turning.
Yeah.
And Hernan kind of the same. Like it was like he was leaving a TV show. You know, he was the main character. It was a character on the TV show and standing at the door. And it's like the Fresh Prince going, okay, yeah. And then I knew it was only a matter of time for both of them. Like I was just watching. I go, what are you two doing? Like it's weird. And then in my mind, I'm thinking that. But,
good instinct, though.
But it was like, you know what? These guys are going to probably at some point come over here because they could see the twinkle in their eye, so to speak.
I love that. I love that you picked up on that. Too.
Yeah,
that's great. I like that analogy too. Like, this is gonna work.
I'm at a vintage where I don't think about like quickly phone record, because if I could, it would have been hilarious. Like Reed was standing there like Superman, hands on hips, kind of just like
Well, he's gonna be joining the full-time slate as well on Tuesday, the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne, following EST afternoons with Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage. Nanso will join us at about 7:30. And then good Edmonton girl Olympian Katherine Plouffe, who's in the 3x3 at the Olympics. Heartbreaking fourth place finish for the Plouffe sisters and Canada on the women's side, 3x3 basketball. I had the good fortune of meeting her yesterday at Damon Bunting's golf tournament, and I said, do you want to come on the show tomorrow? What time? And I was like, 7? No. I'm like, Hernan's already in at 7:30. I'm like, 8:15 or 8:10, because we have to do kind of easy trivia. 3 questions too many. And then she's like, how about 15? I'm like, yes, 8:15, 10 minutes. And then she's like, yes, I'm in. Okay. And then we also have Sobeys and Safeway Liquor Beer of the Week at 8:30, which is going to be fantastic. Zach Tecum's already thirsty. He was asking if he should get the glasses now.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, guys, the beer's in the fridge.
Get him in the freezer.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to have a good time there. And also, we will be getting to some conches, because that's something that we can't forget. So hit us up via the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. Paris Jewelers, family-owned and operated with 22 stores in 4 provinces across Canada. Large and high-quality selection of engagement rings included, lab-created at great prices, exclusive Star Wars and Marvel wedding bands, because
those were great.
You personalize. And if you love that stuff, I saw Deadpool Wolverine. We were talking about that. Loved it. Thought it was great. And you can shop in store or online at parisjewelers.com.
Just an update.
Yes.
Not a good first go for Kimi Antonelli taking over George Russell's seat for FP1. Just put it in the wall.
Oh,
really?
Nick Latif. Oh my goodness.
Really bad, actually. So
Did he get out of there?
I'm just.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That car looks wrecked.
Oh, I wonder what it's like for like George, like his car just gets trashed. And because Hamilton's top of the
Lewis.
time page right now. Yeah, I mean, it's just started or whatever.
Yeah,
but
that's not
this
good.
Kid,
just saw that crash on your second monitor there.
That's tough. That hurts.
Ooh, all right. Well, you'll be updating us as Mons gets going. We're in P1, and these are the Paisans put it into the wall. Okay. We do need to get to this. The Columbus Blue Jackets have put out a statement in regard to Johnny Gaudreau. I'll read off what came down from the National Hockey League, and this is horrific news, and I know a lot of people have been texting in already, and we appreciate that. And yeah, we definitely want to get to it because we have to, and it's important. And so if you haven't heard or you didn't see anything on social media last night, there were rumblings that there was an accident in New Jersey, where Johnny Gaudreau is from and lives, and people were saying that he was involved in the accident and that he had passed away. Well, nobody. There was the scary part last night was nobody was saying that it hadn't happened.
Yeah.
And the worst fears have come to light, and the National Hockey League, along with Gary Bettman, commissioner of the league, released the following statement on the passing of Johnny Gaudreau. The NHL family is shocked and saddened by the tragic passing of Columbus Blue Jackets forward Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew. While Johnny's infectious spirit for the game and show-stopping skills on the ice earned him the nickname Johnny Hockey, he was more than just a dazzling hockey player. He was a doting father and beloved husband, son, brother, and teammate who endeared himself to every person fortunate enough to have crossed his path. Gaudreau often told the story of how his father taught him to skate as a child in his home state of New Jersey, and he carried that same youthful passion throughout his 11 NHL seasons. A skilled playmaker, Gaudreau participated in the NHL All-Star Game 7 times, where he was always a fan favorite, particularly while showcasing his talents in the various skills competitions for which he was so well suited. Quote, he will be remembered fondly in Calgary, where he played his first 9 seasons with the Flames from 2013 to 2022, emerging as one of our league's brightest young stars while compiling the franchise's 5th highest career points total. His loss will also be felt profoundly in Columbus, the city in which he chose to settle his family and where he was one of the respected veteran leaders of a club building towards the playoffs. And both Johnny and Matthew will be mourned at Boston College, where they were teammates the year Johnny won the Hobie Baker Award in 2013-14, and at Gloucester Catholic High School in Jersey, where both played and where Matthew was the head hockey coach following his own 5-year pro playing career. We send our most heartfelt condolences to his wife, Meredith, their children, Noah and Johnny, his parents, Guy and Jane, and sisters, Kristen and Katie, and we grieve alongside his teammates, members of the Columbus Blue Jackets and Flames organizations, his many friends in hockey, and countless fans around the world for whom he created indelible memories on and off the ice, unquote. And I believe it's Guy, not Guy. So absolutely tragic news in the NHL hockey world. Johnny Hockey passing away at the age of 31. Gager.
It's sad when someone passes way too young. Phenomenal but you alluded to it, Tommy. It's not just the hockey player, how great he was, skilled he was. Like there's a level of skill at the NHL, and it's kind of tiered. He was in that upper tier of a skilled player, and here was a guy that there's a little bit more substance to him. When I see a player get to a point where he can really cash in, he took less money to go play where he wanted to, and with his family and make those types of decisions. He'll be missed, man. He was one of those guys too that when I saw him in a Columbus jersey, it didn't fit. Like I'll always remember him as a Flame. That's where basically he cut his teeth and became the 7-time All-Star, like you just said. Yeah, it's really sad.
This is cliche, but it's a reminder of how fragile life is.
Yeah. And it's you're just the young family, his wife. It was not long ago we saw him on someone's shoulders having fun at a wedding.
Sounds about right. Yeah,
seems like the life of the party, and that sucks. That really sucks. My heart goes out to them, and a child growing up without their father. Mm-hmm. That hurt. That's really, and it seems like it was him and his brother. So that's
awful news.
Awful. It couldn't be worse news when at a time when there's a lot of excitement and joy of a new thing starting, right? Yep. So our hearts go out to the Gaudreau family and his wife's side of the family. Sorry, I do not know her name.
Meredith. I think it was in the statement from Gary Bettman. Well said, Gager. I mean, he's in the prime of he was in the prime of his hockey career.
Yeah.
And I know oftentimes we get caught up in just dwelling on these players' careers and not their lives. He was not even at the prime of his life.
Oh, he's just a kid.
Yeah.
You know, so much more.
Yeah.
Going forward, and you know, he was a big part of the USA Hockey. You would probably
Absolutely.
seen him in some capacity moving forward after hockey with USA Hockey. Maybe even coach. I don't know.
Well, his brother was coaching.
Yeah, so
right?
it's in the blood, right? So yeah.
Incredibly sad. We will get to some text, 780-218-9999. I'll start with this. We'll send out a conch to the Gaudreaus and the hockey community and the hockey world as a whole on the passing of Johnny Gaudreau. Conch. Awesome. Thank you, Zach, to come. All right, now let's dive into a few texts here. Gordo says, what a tragedy with Johnny Gaudreau and his brother. The Wolf. Yeah, thank you, Wolf, for passing that along. Bad Billy says, morning, guys. There's some reports about Johnny Gaudreau and his brother. Died in an accident last night. Terrible news. There's also talk. And listen, there's talk about it being his sister's wedding. But we're not sure. We're just going to stick with the facts. We'll go off the release. Perhaps, I'm not saying it's not right, but I've seen a few people point that out. So thank you, Bad Billy. Adam in Quebec City says, rest in peace. Johnny Hockey might have been enemies on the ice, but sad to see him go. And then Jasmine texting in. She was giving us some updates as well in the inbox and said confirmed. Gold Metal Mark says, love the show. Have you guys heard about Johnny Hockey? And an unimaginable tragedy, sad news on a Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Johnny Gaudreau passing away at the age of 31. Zach Tacum, how are you going to remember Johnny Gaudreau?
He was always a highly skilled player, and a lot of the players around him liked him. He was a very nice guy from what it seemed to be, and I remember him as a Flame as well. Just like Gager, he showed there really well, and he had a phenomenal career. He was out in Columbus for a few years, and he wasn't playing up to how he played in Calgary, but he was still a fantastic player. And every time I saw him on the ice, I'd keep my eyes on him. Yeah. I always loved watching him. And he was a player that I could never say I hated on the ice. Mm-hmm. From all accounts, everybody loved him. And it's so tragic to hear that this happened this morning, being confirmed. It's very detrimental, and it really shines a light on how grateful you should be to live every day, because it's never guaranteed. You have these plans. He had his contract, his whole life ahead of him. He had a kid, his wife, his whole family.
Yep.
It's just so devastating, and my thoughts go out to everybody who was involved in the accident and affected by this situation, because it's truly terrible. And not even just in the sports world. This really, this shows that this happens all the time to, I guess you could say, regular individuals. Mm-hmm. And it's really highlighted how impactful it could be once it's somebody of notoriety, and it's absolutely devastating. I don't know which other way to put it.
Well said, Zach Tacum. I remember his first Young Stars Classic when he came out of college.
Yeah.
And I know he played the one game or a couple of games the year prior with the Flames, it was right around that time. And I went to get a coffee. I would always go to the Tim Hortons across the street from the arena before whatever game you had to. We were broadcasting those on Oilers TV, Flames TV, Jets TV. We all working together on those, the Canucks as well. And I go into Tim's, and I'm getting a coffee and a bite to eat. And there he is sitting by himself in the corner, a little guy.
Yeah.
Right? He's just that, unassuming. And I'm like, I'm looking around, and it's just the regulars, the older people that would always go to that Tim Hortons every morning, and they're all talking amongst themselves. And then he was in the corner sitting by himself, having a coffee and something to eat.
Perfect.
And I'm like, there's an NHL superstar in the making. Nobody's saying anything to him. They just think he's a kid in a suit on a morning in Penticton. So, and then he obviously made an impact right away in the National Hockey League. So I remember that. And then the other thing too, when he was in his last season with the Flames, of course, the Oilers beat the Flames in 6 games in that series. I remember going into the series, we're at the Saddle Dome leading into Game 1, and all that talk about his contract extension and if he was going to stick with the Flames. And I remember him he played it like he's a veteran at that point, but he just played it so smooth. And I think it was like Friedman or LeBron was like, so like next season, have you guys started talking about a deal? I'm like, whoa, like we're going into Game 1 of the Battle of Alberta for the first time in 31 years. Yeah. And he's like, no, that's not something I've really thought about. And I was like, he handled that very well.
Yeah.
Very, very well. That's listen, he got knocked for his playoff performances, but I actually think, especially in the bubble, I remember watching him and I thought he was good. He had the dagger against the Stars, man. Going into that Oilers-Flames series.
Horrible goal for a goalie. Great goal for a player. Like
off of Ottinger's heading in, right?
Like Ottinger was completely, didn't think that was going to happen. He rifled it from like the corner into the net.
Yeah.
So.
Well, good on him for seeing that.
Well, it's a shot that guys do now.
It works. Yeah. It works. And Johnny Gaudreau was one of those guys. So remembering some of the good things about Johnny Gaudreau, and I know people around here probably didn't love him because he was a Flame, and the Flames were better than the Oilers for at least a good chunk of those years when Gaudreau came into the league. And then I think everybody can look past that and definitely
maybe didn't love him, but there was a
him
high level of respect.
Yeah, exactly.
The hockey player.
There we go. Adam from Moncton says, I'll always remember Johnny Hockey for scoring the Game 7 OT winner, the one we're talking about, to give this generation a Battle of Alberta playoff series. Thoughts to his family. Bones says, my grandpa was in his 80s when my dad passed away. He was inconsolable at the funeral. Losing a child is the hardest thing on a parent. Thoughts to the Gaudreaus. Brandon from Windsor says, may he rest in peace. So yeah, and it's tragic. It's awful, and the hockey world will be in mourning for a while. So yeah, if you haven't heard, Johnny Gaudreau passing away at the age of 31. We'll be bringing you more news as it trickles in. If there are more details, of course, we'll stay on it. We do not go off of rumors. This is a news outlet, and we rely on official news. So if anything comes from the NHL or the Columbus Blue Jackets, we will happily pass that along your way. So some sad news to start the show. We didn't want to start with the Johnny Gaudreau stuff right off the top. It is Friday. We do want to send you into the weekend in a good mood, but definitely something we want to make sure we give the appropriate amount of time and respect to, and we'll continue to do so as we progress through the Nielson Show Friday edition. Gazzola and Gage in for Dusty and Eric. All right, time now for a sports update. Zach to come. Take it away, buddy.
Some devastating news has come out of the NHL this morning with the passing of Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew. The National Hockey League family is shocked and saddened by the tragic passing of Columbus Blue Jackets forward Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew, Commissioner Gary Bettman said in a statement. Johnny Gaudreau was 31 years old and his brother Matthew was 29. Carolina Hurricanes forward Jesper Fast is expected to miss the entirety of next season after undergoing neck surgery. The 32-year-old had 6 goals and 13 assists in 72 games last year for the club. Yesterday, the San Francisco 49ers extended wide receiver Brandon Ayuk to a 4-year contract extension worth $120 million. This contract ties him for the 5th highest paid receiver in the NFL. Regular season action kicks off Thursday night when the Ravens play the Chiefs. Catch Lieutenant Eric at the Century Casino Sports Barn Lounge every Tuesday and Thursday night football throughout the entire season. In the Canadian game, Labour Day weekend starts tomorrow when the BC Lions duke it out against the Red Blacks. The big boss, Dustin Nielson, will be making the call for that at 5 o'clock. From Calgary, the Elks get back at it Labour Day Monday when they face the Stampeders. Matthew Wanick and Jay Milne will prime you for the action on the Green and Gold Kickoff show starting at 3. As for every Elks games, the boys will be live from the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Come on down and watch the game. This sports update has been brought to you by Nisku Glass. If you're looking for replacement glass for your construction, equipment, or fleet vehicles, or a home or business owner looking to upgrade your space with high-efficiency windows and modern glass designs, Nisku Glass is here to help. From your home to your business to your vehicle, they won't just meet your glass needs, they'll shatter them. Check them out on Instagram or call them at 780-955-7989 and see what Nisku Glass can do for you.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
.34 in Edmonton. Good morning. Hope you're doing well as we head into the Labor Day long weekend. You're listening or watching The Nielson Show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola and Joaquin Gage with you alongside Zach to come inside the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen studio. Popeyes now has boneless wings, a continuation of their bone-in wings platform, which will allow customers to the choice between the ghost pepper bone-in wings or the all-white boneless wings with a milder flavor. With the success of the current wings platform, they are continuing to lean on their existing sauce offerings, including signature hot, honey garlic, honey barbecue, and garlic parmesan, as well as classic. I like bone-in wings platform for a term. It's like when you hear something, it's like, yes, our regenerative this, and this system. And I'm like, aren't we talking about like candy here, or like, you know what I mean? Like, like an obscure product has a system to it, and you're like, what? Aren't you a towel manufacturer, right? God. So the bone-in wings platform over at Popeyes. The bottom line is this: they're delicious.
Yeah, I love when you stop through the drive-through or whatever and go grab yourself just a couple wings for the ride home.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Now, you can't get bone-in wings on the drive home?
Oh, yeah, you can.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Get it all over
I'm
the
a bone-in wing guy. Chicken nuggets they're not boneless wings. They're big chicken nuggets.
I don't think of them that way.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's a boneless wing system.
Right.
Joaquin.
Jimmy Onishi asked the same thing I asked of you before the show.
What's that?
Is Ayuk that good to get that big of an extension?
What do you get, 120 mil?
120. Oof. Brandon Ayuk.
He must be.
That's crazy. That's
who signed the? Was it Steph Curry?
Steph Curry, 64?
64 million
for 1 year.
Well, how long till we see the first $100 million a year athlete? Like where the contract from the team is that much? Because Tani is what, 70?
Yeah, Otani's 700. How much is Otani's contract overall? I thought it was 700 million.
Yeah, 700 million flat.
Yeah. So, and how many years? 10?
10. So 70 average.
And they deferred it.
Yeah, there's
people
a bunch
are
of
upset
deferral
about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think you'll see would it be a baseball play? Probably or with soccer, the football.
Well, I know. So didn't Lewis Hamilton, wasn't he close to 100 million a year, and like golfers with their indoor, like
I think it's when you add it all up.
Yeah.
Though. But not from their actual
Messi.
Yeah. I think Lewis is like around 30 or 40 a year.
That's his team contract.
Yeah, that's his team.
Which is huge.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And F1, do they put those numbers in euro or dollars?
That's a good question. I'm sure it'd probably be euros.
And euros more than the dollar, right?
Yeah, a little bit more than $1. So
these guys are making bank, man.
Yeah.
Any update there? We had that big crash.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Antonelli because that was his big debut, rumored to take
The seat?
the Lewis's seat.
Tough start at Monza.
At the Cathedral of Speed or the Temple of Speed. I don't know.
Temple of Speed? Yeah. But Ayuk, good for him, man.
Yeah,
4-year,
that's-
$120 million extension.
Yeah, there's always this, and there was a few other big signings too. Who signed for the Cowboys there too?
CD Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb signed. So, I think it's important to get your stars all settled and done into camp. I mean, they're a week out, right? We're a week out from the NFL here.
Thursday night.
That's another sign of the
Fall.
times are changing.
Yep.
You know, when the NFL starts and Sundays just become glorified couch days because you probably had too many 6 o'clocker loggers on the Saturday night, and you get up early, you watch the F1 race, and you kind of fall back asleep, and then you get ready for the NFL. Hear the pundits talking on the 3,000 different shows.
Yeah. You know what? I'm guilty of this. I've done this, exactly what you just described.
I bet.
And I feel like there's a few of us that are out there that have done the exact same thing and plan to do that going forward starting next weekend. But like, there's something about it. Like, it's like, okay, F1 starts at 7. It's like, okay, I'll have my coffee, I'll watch the race. Then, you're just like, I don't need to do anything today. I could doze off on the couch for a little bit. And then, I would always flip it to NFL Live.
Oh, yeah.
Or
I know,
NFL Network, and I'd watch their pregame. Then I'd flip over to like CBS or whatever TSN's showing. And then I get NFL'd out, and I'll watch the Cardinals lose. I can usually only make it to halftime because they're getting crushed, especially if they play the 11:30 game or the 2 o'clock game.
Yeah.
And then if they play the 2 o'clock game, it rolls right into Sunday Night Football. And as soon as I see like the intro to Sunday Night Football, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch this.
No, it's fun, man. I mean, you've been in the States, Tommy. Like, football's a religion down there.
Yes,
like,
it is.
And it's mostly, how I remember it is, and if you've traveled in the States, you know, you're walking through airports, the neon signs, the Bud Light signs, or whatever, and everyone's sitting around the bar watching the football game.
Yep.
Like, it's just packed in there. People standing in the back watching it. It's a fun time. America's got that right. That part of their culture I really enjoy.
It's also a pleasure to indulge in with them.
Yeah.
Like the tailgate, the other thing too, Gager, is they all have like multiple uniforms of their team. They have hoodies, they have everything, and it's hot outside. They have sleeveless.
Yeah.
You know, things that you wouldn't imagine. Like I remember being in St. Louis, and like there'd be St. Louis Cardinals footballs, and I'm like, wait a sec, this is a baseball team. And then same thing, like football teams will put stuff on like a hockey puck and be like, this is a weird crossover, but it sells and it makes money, and that's the machine that is the National Football League.
Yeah, the NHL doesn't really have, their merch hasn't really penetrated that kind of sports market, really, right? I mean, there's jerseys, obviously, and here, actually this winter, my best friend growing up was out. We came to a game, and he's from Vancouver, and he was shocked at the amount of Oilers jerseys in the crowd. Like, he says that doesn't happen in Vancouver unless it's playoffs. Like, you go to an Oilers game here, and everyone's wearing a jersey. Everybody is. So it's I mean, maybe that's the Snoop Dogg influence. He's the first kind of celebrity that. Well, I think it was an Oilers jersey that he donned first.
Snoop Dogg did. Kobe had one. There's been a few. I know the thing now is like if a big concert rolls through town, you give them the uniform.
Yeah. That's the old adage.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to Smashing Pumpkins decades ago, and Billy Corgan said, "Yeah, and Wayne Gretzky's coming back," and we're all like, "Easy, Billy.
Settle down.
Just sing this arm and let's get to it."
Nice. Well done, Billy Corgan. So that football, very exciting. It's starting this week in the NFL, and then NCAA is underway. Of course, we're in full swing in the CFL. It is a big weekend in the
Yes.
Canadian Football League. Dusty, if you're like, where the hell is he? You know he's calling the CFL game. Tomorrow, Touchdown Pacific in Victoria, Gager. BC Lions hosting the Ottawa Red Blacks. You're from the mean streets of Kitsilano, Greater Vancouver. We're seeing a renaissance there with the BC Lions.
Yeah.
Omar Duman has really, since he's taken over ownership of the Lions, ramped this thing up and made Lions games more of an event for people to go to. You talk about like Canucks fans and stuff like that. Well, it seems like it's kind of cool to go to a Lions game, or at least it's starting to sway that way. And now they're going to be playing in Victoria. Like, I don't know Victoria. I know of it. I know people love it. It's beautiful.
It's great.
I don't know how it's pretty close to Vancouver.
Yeah.
Like, will this? I'm assuming it's going to be a sell. It's only 14,000 seats for this game, but like to have that game there, like, what kind of impact do you think that might have, if any, at all?
I mean, are we talking about CFL expansion? Is that what you're kind of alluding to a little bit?
I think so. Like, it's too close to.
Yeah,
Vancouver.
it's close. But so is Hamilton and Toronto.
Yeah,
You know?
it's been like 100 and something.
I
years.
know. I don't know. The Victoria Cougars, I know they had trouble putting butts in seats. And this is an old junior team.
Right.
They were terrible.
Grant Fuhr played for them before he came to Edmonton.
My
right?
buddy Steve Passmore played there.
Right.
And it was always fun to go to the island. You know, you'd get on the ferry and stuff like that. I'd like to see it. Victoria's great, man. It's a really over the last, I would say, I mean, it's probably even longer than that, but it's really started to boom a lot. I think people from Vancouver, just because it's become so congested, and not that it's any easier in Victoria, but it's a little bit less than Vancouver. You've seen a lot of people start moving over there, Okanagan, things like that,
Right.
getting out of Vancouver. Yeah, but I think the Lions, from what they've built now, they probably would be hesitant to have a team so close and draw upon their base a little bit.
Right.
I don't know if it could support it. But it'd be neat. I think it would be cool. It'll be a cool game to watch, that's for sure.
It is a unique venue. The touchdown series has become pretty successful for the CFL, and most of the games were in the Maritimes. Touchdown Atlantic had kind of become a staple. It was kind of a proving ground for a potential 10th team in Halifax, or there's talk about Moncton. Obviously, there's been a struggle to get a stadium there. I know there was some momentum before COVID to get a stadium built, and that has kind of waned a little bit. But there has been discussions about potentially getting a team into Quebec City if they can't pull it off in Halifax or anywhere in the Maritimes. So, you know, taking it over to the West Coast, this touchdown series is interesting, and putting it in a city. And I like the idea of taking your league and your game and your product to markets that are not already established.
Maybe that's what they do. Maybe that's what they do over the next, maybe have like a 5-year plan where you have these types of games in different, I mean, the NFL goes to Europe, right?
They go to Mexico City.
They go to Mexico. Yeah. So there's obviously venues that you could probably use in different parts of Canada. Try it out. See what it could do. I mean, how great would it be if there was 2 teams in Saskatchewan? You know,
that'd be wild. One in Saskatoon.
Yeah.
Put a game in Saskatoon.
Put
the riders in there, right?
Like, there's people that drive there.
Absolutely.
That would. I mean, it's tough because that mosaic is
beautiful.
It's a cathedral.
Yes.
Like,
modern.
If I'm a CFL guy, that's probably where I would want to play most, just for that atmosphere. They're crazy. They're absolutely crazy.
And they have
Look
a
at
great
Eric.
stadium. Look at Eric. Absolutely. So Touchdown Pacific is tomorrow evening. Dusty Nielson on the call. Lions and Red Blacks. Of course, it is the Labor Day weekend, and that means the classics. We're going to see Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, and then the Banjo Bowl next week. But Sasky and Winnipeg goes at 5 o'clock our time on Sunday. And then the big one is Monday. You got Hamilton and Toronto kicking things off 12:30 our time. And then Calgary hosts Edmonton. Zacta comes in his best green and gold right now.
He is.
Can the Elks get a win at McMahon, match Calgary's win total. Calgary sitting at 4-6, Edmonton 3-8 after that tough loss in Montreal. Maybe if they could go back-to-back wins against the Stamps on Labor Day weekend and then the rematch back here in Edmonton, huge swing. So we'll see how it goes in a monster weekend in the Canadian Football League. Hernan Salas will be joining us at 7:30. We'll talk about the new show starting on Tuesday, EST afternoons with Nancito and Joaquin Gage, and then that will be followed by the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne kicking off on Tuesday. Like I said, very exciting times here at EST, and we'll also get a little bit of a scoop on the Elks from Hernan, who has been a member of that organization for the past 2.5, 3 years. So it's going to be a great weekend. You guys are going to have a ton to talk about on Tuesday, obviously. And then Katherine Plouffe, Canadian Olympian, Edmontonian, 3x3 basketball, finishing 4th at the Paris Olympics. She will join us at around 8:15. We've got Sobeys Safeway Liquor Beer of the Week. We've got Blake from Tail Gunner Brewing that will be joining us. And then, of course, we do need to talk about the news of the day. Absolutely horrific news out of the National Hockey League. The passing of Johnny Gaudreau in an accident in Salem, New Jersey. If you haven't heard yet, and if you haven't been on social media and are just tuning in, Gaudreau and his brother Matthew passing away yesterday. It was confirmed by the National Hockey League and the Columbus Blue Jackets. And we will get to your text, 780-218-9999, Paris Jewelers inbox. And certainly we talked about it quite a bit in our first segment. And I mean, we both will reiterate, horrible. Absolutely horrible. Prime of his life, prime of his career, young family.
Not even you get out of hockey and you think you're old. Like Johnny Gaudreau probably thought himself as an older hockey player, but you get out and you've got this massive runway of life still.
Yeah.
Like it's so sad that it was cut so short at this point, man. That's I just, the kids and wife, just the young family, just to have it completely shattered so young. That's what gets me the most. Like
not looking past the loss of Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew's life, but like the ripple effect and the immediate one is his wife, the family. I think his dad Guy was having some health issues, and all of a sudden you lose not one, but 2 boys.
Yeah, just
in one incident.
Ugh.
By all accounts, we want to stick to what facts do come in. They're not giving us much officially. There's been some rumblings out there, but like heartbreaking.
I mean, you're at a loss for words at this point, because then you kind of look inward towards yourself and just go, oh my gosh, like how Zach said it, how lucky am I to have that time. So yeah, if it hug your family, hug your kids, hug your mom and dad, and just really, really sad day for the NHL. Lost a good guy,
superstar,
and
really well liked by all accounts. Everybody I heard that knew him. I was talking to Pat Steinberg a little bit last night, just to be like, hey Patty, like, are you hearing anything? Because this is kind of messed up, right? Like there was social media rumblings, and you have to take those with a grain of salt unless it's coming from an official source. People like to jump to conclusions. Unfortunately, the rumblings last night ended up being true. And I just said, Pat, like, what's going on? And he goes, it's true, man. Like, horrific. And so it's shocking and devastating and sad all at the same time. And, one thing, though, Gager, is I'm seeing it in our inbox, 780-218-9999. A lot of good memories coming in, even from people that are Oilers fans.
Oh, I mean, there was he was great, man. He battled, for a guy of his stature.
Yeah.
To be that successful in a game where it's, the average size is 6'2", 200, 220, somewhere around there. Like that's a feat in itself. To put up to be as prolific a scorer as he was.
Slippery little bugger. It's so
I
good.
played with guys that could command the game and not only speed it up but slow it down.
Right.
Too. Like, you remember him going through the neutral zone and you just couldn't get the puck away from him.
Yeah.
You know, it's just he had it on a string.
Yeah.
And just come in, rip it shelf, like.
And he could rip it shelf,
oh,
too.
gosh,
And
yeah. I was like, how did he score that?
Yeah.
But you know what? I hate when guys, when they score, there's no emotion. Like there was like, it was painful. Not with him on most occasions, right? He was happy to score. And some pretty good celebrations when he put the puck in the net. So I liked that passion from players. It makes it way more for me anyway to enjoy the game.
If you were in net, how many would he have gotten on you?
Oh, lots probably. Hey, he's deceptive, right? He's a very deceptive guy. I'm trying to think of who what type of player he reminded me of, and I'm actually.
Well, in your era, there weren't a lot of guys like that.
No, I mean the big one was obviously Paul Kariya,
right?
But I don't think you can even compare the two because
Paul Kariya had the speed and then
he
the
was
soft
blazing
touch,
speed.
Where
right?
Gaudreau was like dangler hands, and then he'd surprise you with his shot.
Yeah,
and
I guess he could. No, I hold Paul in such high regard. Pat LaFontaine. There's a good one. Paul or Pat could fly too.
Yeah,
that was a. You know, I'm thinking of I'm actually doing a thing next weekend up in Whitecourt. Cliff Ronning.
He's a good player.
That's who I think of when Gaudreau. Only because there was times when he had the puck the whole time. So there's nothing you could do. And
right.
I'd play summer hockey as a kid with Cliff Ronning.
Yeah.
And he'd have the puck for like 45 minutes. Like, and no hitting, obviously, but no one could get the puck from him.
He was good. White tape.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always remember Cliff Ronning. And he had a visor. A CCM with the iTech visor.
Yeah.
He was part of that like really good Vancouver team.
Oh, yeah.
Where were they really good? Like the 92 to about 95, 96, they had that really strong run.
Yeah. When they got Pavel is when they really...
Or maybe even 90. When did they beat the Flames in that series? Was that 91? Or did the Oilers win in 91? The Oilers beat the Flames.
Yeah, that was...
Was that 90? No.
It's 93? Wasn't it?
93-ish? Yeah,
I
somewhere around there.
Then when the Rangers won that year, right?
Yeah. 94, the Rangers, 93, 94, they beat the Canucks.
Yeah, that was... Again, that was great. That was a great series. Canucks were unbelievable. Pavel was a joke. There's those certain players that you'd love to see play in today's game. Well, then there's two definite ones for me. One's him, and the other one's Paul Kariya.
I think they thrive, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, Gaudreau did that. Superstar, 743 points.
Jeez.
In 763 games.
Wow.
And like. The knock would be his playoffs, right? People would be like, well, where's Johnny? 33 points in 42 games in the postseason. It was a -11, but he did come up big in some moments. Like we were saying, that goal on Jake Otten.
Yeah.
Whizzed it off of his head and in Game 7.
Hey, he ran into... The Flames were good. Like, Tkachuk was good. That was a great duo. You know, that was one of the best duos in the league. They just ran into a better one with... Leon on one leg and Connor McDavid.
What a series.
Yeah.
What a series that was. So much fun to cover. A lot of great texts coming in, and I'm going to read some of these out. 780-218-9999. Paris Jewelers inbox as we pay our respects to Johnny Gaudreau passing away at the age of 31, tragically, and not only Johnny Gaudreau, but his brother Matthew as well. So absolutely horrific news in the world of hockey. This one, again, Adam from Quebec City saying, my uncle's accounting firm had season tickets to the Flames, and he would offer my dad a choice of games. My dad and I, living in Medicine Hat and being huge Oilers fans, would always take the Saturday night Battle of Alberta games. Seeing how much Flames fans love Johnny Gaudreau was something else. My condolences to all that mourn his tragic death. Morgan saying, such tragic news today. I didn't want to believe it when I saw those rumors online. My condolences go out to the Gaudreau family and the hockey world. Yeah, here's one from Lacombe Drew. Says, regardless of the player or who they play for, we all have something special in common. The love for slapping a puck around. The joy for digging into the ice. Ultimately, we're all on team hockey. RIP Johnny Hockey. Thanks for helping put little guys back on the map. And he was a slippery bugger out there.
Yeah.
And he was so good.
It's funny when you would see him, because I saw him one time in the catwalk, just from the hotel to the rink there, and they were all coming over with Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
And you see, like, you would have thought he was one of their kids, you know, because he's just with like 4 monsters, and then there's Johnny. It was pretty funny. And
every time I saw him, like I made that joke about seeing him at the Tim Hortons. Yeah. That's where we're laughing, in Penticton, going into his first full season. And he was sitting in the corner of this Tim Hortons. It was all the old people, the regulars that would go there, and nobody paid any attention to him. And I'm like, this guy won the Hobie Baker, and he's just sitting there like sipping on his coffee, and he had like a little sandwich. And I was like, man, he's so unassuming. And he always kind of had that like, just like staring off into the clouds kind of look. And you're going, what are you thinking of? You know, like what's going on here? He's probably like, you know, well, I'm going to deke out this guy. I'm going to shoot right here on this goal.
Good interview, too. Like, he seemed like a guy that he'd probably make you laugh a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and he was very unassuming, like you said. And
he had that look even, like you said, when you were walking the catwalk, and he's just like, there's cute 4 monsters and their accountant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, he's the superstar.
Yeah, he's the best player on the team.
Yeah. Yeah. Dolphin Nation texting in says, Johnny Hockey was the one Flame I actually enjoyed watching and never despised. Dolphin Nation. That's saying something if you're an Oilers fan.
I didn't like him as a hockey player.
Well, because he burned them every time.
But he was, man.
Burglar says, thoughts and prayers to the one and only God of the universe for the Gaudreaus. One could argue he earned not only his big contract, but also Matthews. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Jeff in YYZ says, R.I.P. Johnny Hockey. And Dr. Dre says, R.I.P. Johnny Hockey. Today we are Team Gaudreau. Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to say. All right, we're going to get to a sports update. We'll continue to pass along news in regard to what happened with Johnny Gaudreau passing away tragically last night, along with his brother Matthew. Certainly not the way we want to start the Labor Day long weekend, but we will give you news in the sporting world outside of what happened with Gaudreau. But when tidbits and information does drop, we will make sure you get those via us. Time now for a sports update with Zach to come.
Some devastating news has come out of the NHL this morning with the passing of Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew. The National Hockey League family is shocked and saddened by the tragic passing of the Columbus Blue Jackets forward. Commissioner Gary Bettman said in his statement, Johnny Gaudreau was 31 years old and his brother Matthew was 29. Carolina Hurricanes forward Jesper Fast is expected to miss the full season next year, undergoing neck surgery. The 32-year-old had 6 goals and 13 assists in 73 games last year for the club. Yesterday, the Golden State Warriors re-signed Steph Curry to a 1-year, $60.26 million contract. With the extension, Curry becomes the first NBA player to get paid $60 million in a single season. Another big contract was signed with the San Francisco 49ers, extending wide receiver Brandon Ayuk to a 4-year extension worth $120 million. This contract ties him for the fifth highest receiver in the NFL. Regular season action kicks off Thursday night when the Ravens meet the Chiefs. Catch Lieutenant Eric at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge every Tuesday and Thursday night football throughout the entire season. Over in the Canadian game, Labor Day weekend starts tomorrow when the BC Lions duke it out against the Red Blacks. The big boss, Dustin Nielson, will be making the call for that 5 o'clock start. From Calgary, the Elks get back at it Labor Day Monday when they face the Stampeders. Matthew Wannick and Jay Millen will prime you for the action on the Green and Gold Kickoff show starting at 3. As for every Elks game, the boys will be live from the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Come on down and watch the game. This sports update has been brought to you by Green Plan, providing you with award-winning environmental planning and consulting services. Whether it's municipal, industrial, residential, plan it right with Green Plan. Visit green-plan.com or give them a call at 780-455-4292.
Itch won't go away. It's my original sin. The poison that I crave. Come along for the ride. I'd make you feel better. Cut the rope that I tied, but then I broke my skin again. Me fiending for that first high, but the feeling's not the same. You got me stealing, killing, I die just to feel you in
7:03 in Edmonton. Good morning, Tom Gazzola, Joaquin Gage, Zach to come with you on a Friday edition of the Nielson Show, brought to you by South Fort Chevrolet. For the best deal at the best price, go see Daniel and his team in Fort Sask. Tell them EST sent you. You'll get 15% off accessories on your new ride. And they've got a deal for Silverado 1500s and heavy duties. Visit their website, www.southfortchev.com. Also, they're launching a back-to-school drive initiative. Fill a truck with school supplies for local donation. They're asking people to drop off new grade school supplies at South Fort Chev during regular business hours. Each donation comes with a chance to win a detail package and $150 worth of GCs to Source for Sports.
Good deal.
Great initiative. You had to drag your daughter back to school yesterday.
Yeah, that was needed a crowbar to get her out of bed there. But picked her up from school. It's always fun seeing kids first day of school.
Even in high school, she's in high school now, right?
Yeah, grade 11. It's funny because they don't look like 15-year-olds. They all look like 26 to me.
It's crazy.
And the style, like all the kids, she goes to Skona, so and I guess she said Coach Knoblaugh's son goes to Skona.
Oh, cool.
So she goes, oh yeah, he was hanging out with all the hockey boys.
Shocking.
Shocking.
What a surprise.
So it's good.
Yeah, school underway, and so you can drop off some school supplies for the back-to-school drive over at South Fort Chev. Chance to win $150 to Source for Sports, which is a great initiative. And, it was always cool getting the new school supplies. Like, I hated school, shockingly. But, it'd be like, my mom was a teacher before she moved to Canada. And then she worked for Edmonton Catholic schools, and she'd be, what do you need for school? Pens? Pencil? No pencils. I don't use those. Okay, pens, binder, paper. And I'm like, just the bare minimum, Mom. But like when you're in elementary, you want the new pencil crayons.
Oh,
you
yeah.
want like a sharpener. You got the little kit that you open up and we have everything.
Yeah.
I wanted to have that. And then I think in junior high it all changed. I'm like, I don't want anything.
It's funny because the new rule of no phones, right?
I heard about this.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Coming from a family of teachers, my wife's side, and my sister-in-law still teaches. She says, well, she was on the fence with it because they can be a distraction, yes, but they're a tool that she can implement within the classroom for her kids to use, right? So if it's used properly, it's a computer essentially.
It is,
it helps a lot of
everything on
kids looking up things. It's just, you don't need to be on Instagram and
Clash of Clans.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
Snapchatting each other.
It's tough. I don't know how they're going to police it properly. But I think and now they all have computers. I don't see why you actually, everyone's got a computer almost. And even if you don't, they supply MacBooks.
In the classroom?
Or PowerBooks or whatever the Microsoft one is.
I shouldn't be surprised, but I am surprised.
Yeah, no, it's...
Zach's like, yep.
Yeah. What do they have in school
what
now?
did you have? What the hell's going on in these
What
schools
happened
now?
last month when you were in high school?
Yeah, what was that like?
Last month.
Did you go and have a smoke in the smoking pit? We used to have a smoking pit at AOB.
No, we just did it in the bathroom, and the fan would, because it's vape. Anyway, with the computers, I remember. Well, in grade 6, that's when they tried to bring the ban in, but everyone has their phones on them. It doesn't really matter anyway. They're gonna sneak it into your test, into whatever you're doing there. And I don't know. They got the trays, or I guess cabinets almost. They have these carts that they pull out with Chromebooks in them.
That's
so full Chromebooks.
Damn.
They give them to you for, well, not give them to you, but you get to use them. You kind of sign them out. There used to be, of course, computer rooms, I guess you would go to.
We had those way back in the day.
We had a bunch of those at Nate as well, but they didn't, at Nate, they didn't really give you anything, but for high school and junior high, they have the Chromebooks.
Yeah.
And I remember one time my junior high principal was like, you guys need to buy a laptop for high school. They're not going to supply it. And they did, because every school did.
Right.
So you would just show up. A bunch of the kids would break them for some reason.
That's
well.
you get the idiots that do that. You know, like, come on. But I guess you don't understand the cost and who pays for it. The government. Who pays and funds the government? We do.
I'll just tip to young fathers out there: when you purchase your kid a expensive product like that, the care doesn't quite go into it as much as if they pay for it. Like you would think.
Ooh, good tip.
That so now it's okay. Well, you want this, you gotta pitch in and go halfers. That thing's like in a vault when they pay for it. Your stuff, it's footloose and fancy free with that.
Daddy bought it.
Gosh, my kids were outside using that iPad for like a Frisbee because they couldn't find the Frisbee.
Oh, I'm not surprised, but that's a great little, you change the perspective for them. You're like, well, you bought this with your hard-earned money, did you?
Yeah, all of a sudden. And if it breaks, who gets to replace it? You do.
You do. Well played, Gage. Well played. Text us 780-218-9999. Paris Jewelers inbox. Family owned and operated for 22 years in 4 provinces across Canada. Great partners with us basically since the launch of EST. Shop in store or online at www.parisjewelers.com. Yes, back to school is in full effect. Get those little gremlins back in there. Back to school. First day was great.
Oh yeah.
Second day sucked.
Like it was a fashion show at Skona. Like
Right.
everyone had on their new stuff. Like all the sneaks were bright white.
Fresh.
You know, the hair was done. It smelled like, you know, an Axe body factory. Even in my car outside.
Gross. Better than BO, though.
Yeah, I guess.
Better than BO. That's cool. Good. And hopefully it's a great school year to all those going back. Wishing you well. Do your homework. Everything I didn't do. All right. Keep those texts coming in. 780-218-9999. Dr. J says, new phone policy is a welcome change for this high school teacher. Massive distraction. No phones in class. Lock it in the locker.
Good. Well, I'm sure it's probably going to help them because there's just some kids that probably just on their phones playing the whole time.
That would be me.
I did a youth improvement thing where we went in and actually taught some junior high kids about finances and stuff.
Well, good.
So, I was shocked. Like there was one kid and he just slept the whole time. And I was like, to me, that was, if I ever did that in school, the teacher would come and like bang my head off the
desk.
And I was like, is he okay? And he goes, oh, he just sleeps. And I'm like, really? And we did this whole thing and I had this big presentation and it was actually a lot of fun. And it was funny. It solidified my view of how kids look at their parents' money because I gave them they had occupations that they did.
Yeah.
Whatever they were, they had a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
That they got per year, but they didn't know this first. So I go, okay, where are you going to live? And I'm living large, like all this. Then I gave them the jobs with the salary, and all of a sudden 3 of them are living together. They're carpooling. They're sharing bus passes
getting
and
an
stuff.
electric
And I was
vehicle.
like, you guys, like as soon as it becomes your money, they're all frugal. But with
Change.
mommy and daddy, it was like
Making it rain.
it's funny.
They get it.
Yeah, they get it.
That's a
They
harsh
get it.
reality. Dave in Section T says, our district has blocked social media sites from the students' Wi-Fi. We'll see how it goes, but day one was good.
Okay, yeah.
That's
Do they know VPN exists? You just download NordVPN or
Hey,
whatever.
hey, Zach. Jeez, give me
Quiet.
Sorry.
Zach was saying, oh, there used to be computer rooms. Well, that's the era I grew up in.
There was one room, the
Yeah.
computer room.
Changing 100.
Hey! Nicely done. I was in the era where it went from one computer room, because everybody did the computer room, work at computers today, to it was computers in, you'd go to different classrooms at
Right.
Nate, and then there was, you'd just log in, right?
Yeah.
I remember we had to do an English class in radio and television, and those were some pretty dry classes. So I found a website that had all old Nintendo games on it, and you could play them. And I beat Ghostbusters 1 and 2 for Nintendo, because I could never beat them as a kid.
That's fantastic.
And I'd have
Tommy.
one window with like whatever we were working on, and then the other I'd be sitting there playing Ghostbusters.
I can confirm there was no work done in those classes.
Yeah,
that's
a tough
at
one.
Nate Radio and TV.
Man, I'm so old. There was actually like typewriters in
Yeah.
rooms to learn typing. You'd walk by and hear the tick, 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 whatever.
And then like
I still can't type. I'm getting better, but I can't. Whatever.
We all figure it out.
Yeah.
All right. The big news of the day, sadly, and we're getting lots of texts in regard to it, rightly so, because it's horrific if you're just waking up to it. Good morning. Yes, indeed. If you were on social media last night and there were rumblings of Johnny Gaudreau passing away, it has been confirmed, and there have been more details provided. This is via the Canadian Press and TSN. So if you didn't catch it, Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew killed Thursday night when he was hit by a car while riding a bicycle in his home state of New Jersey. New Jersey State Police said Gaudreau was one of 2 cyclists struck and killed by a car in Salem County, New Jersey. Gaudreau's younger brother Matthew, 29 years old, was the other victim in the crash. Police confirmed the Carneys Point, New Jersey natives were in the area for their sister Katie's wedding scheduled for Friday in Philadelphia. So that is also confirmed now. According to police, the Gaudreau brothers were cycling on a road when a man driving in the same direction attempted to pass 2 other vehicles and struck them from behind. They were pronounced dead at the scene. Police said the driver, Sean M. Higgins, was suspected of being under the influence of alcohol and charged with 2 counts of death by auto and jailed. We have a quote, says the National Hockey League family shocked and saddened by the tragic passing of Columbus Blue Jackets forward Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew. That's from Commissioner Gary Bettman. So there you go. More details. Confirmation of the speculation.
We didn't
and
want to
rumblings.
talk about it.
Right.
Yeah, I saw that on the Sportsnet site with
All of that confirmed.
all that confirmed now. So
Terrible.
even
yeah.
even worse, the fact that alcohol could have been a part of this, and one of the probably one of the most joyful weekends coming up, seeing their sister get married.
Yeah.
It's gross. Absolutely gross.
Yeah. So yes, awful news, and again, we'll track it as the day progresses. But yeah, it started last night. There was some discussion on social media about this collision and that Johnny Gaudreau was involved, and there was nothing confirmed. Nobody in the hockey world. I think everybody in the hockey world. That was another thing I saw, Gager, and listen, not everybody follows the same protocol, and people are. I saw people like given it to the insiders. Why haven't you guys said anything about this? Who the hell do you guys think you guys call yourself inside? I saw a reaction like that on social media. And it's like, with something like this, you don't go on a rumor or hearsay. You need confirmation.
Yeah.
All right? Like, this isn't a trade. This isn't a signing. This isn't a spat between a player and a team. This is life and death. This is a family. There is a process to it. So I would, and it doesn't surprise me with social media because we see the stupid of stupid.
I saw
some
comments about just us talking, and it was like, look, it was frowned upon. It was like, well, whatever, man.
Was it like, how dare you talk about other sports and weather?
No, it was. Well, I saw that one. That's another one, but
it's called starting the show and progressing to the important stuff.
We were just. I mean, I thought we're paying respect to Johnny for the on the hockey player side. He was a great hockey player. Yeah. I don't think. Yeah, we of course we're going to talk about him as a hockey player. Unfortunately, I didn't know him as a person. We can all say that when. I mean, I've been in a lot of dressing rooms with a lot of people and seen interactions, and I can tell you from the one or two times that I saw Johnny Gaudreau, he was an integral part of his team. Like, he was one of the pillars of it. He was looked upon as one of the leaders, right? So that's how I know Johnny Gaudreau, aside from being a brilliant hockey player. So, of course, that's what I'm going to talk about. But. Yeah. Oh man, that's being on Mount Olympus and falling. The emotional level of those families. That is
awful. Yeah, and then the wedding element. It is confirmed. It was for his sister's wedding. That's why everyone had gathered. Yeah, Gage, you're cringing if you're not watching. Super tough. Super tough. I saw this one. It was from Library Pat. I wanted to get to. It says, guys, thanks for taking a measured approach to the show today. Exactly right, in my opinion. And Zach, that was really well done on the update. I'm guessing maybe tough to do when there's such sad news that needs to be included. Well job, EST, especially to the three of you stepping in to cover on a Friday. Thank you, Library Pat. Yes, it's a delicate balance. People are on their way to work. Maybe you catch us talking about something more lighthearted, like a crash in F1 P1, which we were talking about earlier. There is other things going on. We will continue to update you on the news about Johnny Gaudreau, but I think now more details have come to light, have been confirmed. Gager and I were joking about watching him play, burn the Oilers, burn the Dallas Stars, seeing him in person. And at the end of the day, I think our hearts all go out to the Gaudreau family on what was supposed to be a phenomenal weekend.
And here's a guy, you said it, was a phenomenal hockey player that brought joy to a lot of people in Alberta.
Yeah.
That's the tough thing, how he affected people that he didn't even know just because he was a really good hockey player. Right?
Yeah.
And that's tough.
Yeah. 31 years old, his brother Matthew. I appreciate, as someone who has two younger brothers, at 31 and 29, they're hanging out and just riding bikes. Remember when you were a kid? My brothers and I would just ride bikes. What are you guys doing? Wow, let's go ride bikes.
Yeah.
Where are you guys going? I don't know. We're riding. But awful.
Just go ride a bike for
just
a bit.
Hanging out.
Yeah, just hanging out with your brother.
Yeah. Ontario Momes via the Paris Jewelers inbox says, everybody should take an extra moment today out there. Friends and family, appreciate it because tomorrow is not guaranteed. Ontario Momes, well said. Deaky Sparks texting in says, hurts to even try to imagine what his parents are going through. Wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Go see your family on the long weekend.
Yeah, and this is a weekend that, a lot of families do get together for.
Yeah.
It's the start. I know with mine, we try to have one family supper before. I mean, all of my nieces are actually both in university now, and my daughter's the only one still in high school. But yeah, just be careful with everything this weekend. Yeah. Take inventory of your family and friends, and if there's someone that I'm guilty of it lots. Those friends are people that you've said that we got to get together or we got to do this. Whatever. A text, quick phone call, see how they're doing.
Check in. They appreciate it.
Yeah.
The outpouring of support on social media now is very overwhelmingly nice to see.
Oh, yeah.
And I was alluding to some of the stupidity last night when there was speculation, and I just wanted to say, hey, like, again, the insiders are probably, especially if it happened late last night out east, I didn't find out or see that till like 11 o'clock. So just to give you some context for those that don't know, you're not going to run with a rumor on social media when it's something like that and you don't know and don't have it confirmed.
Yeah.
I had to do I did news for a couple of years in Lloyd, and you'd have to wait till next of kin were notified.
Yeah.
There's a process to it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
that has especially to something like that. You don't want the parents to find out from social media,
right?
And, like, you can't,
right?
Yeah, it's.
So anyway, I'm just shedding some light on that side of it, and why didn't Elliot Friedman or Drager have that report last night? There's a process. There's a respect and a healthy amount of. Give it some room, time to breathe. Make sure you get all the facts before you put anything out there. And when we're seeing it confirmed today, NHL, Columbus Blue Jackets, putting up the reports. So,
and I'm sure the Flames and Blue
Flames
Jackets,
too. Yes,
we'll
of course.
do something
absolutely
very special this coming season for.
Of course they will.
Yeah,
and that's what Columbus, like, that's tough. We were talking about this. Sadly, we were talking about like players during their NHL playing careers passing away, and this has happened.
Yeah, no, I was trying to think of the last kind of tragic early passing of an NHL player. I mean, we had one here, Colby Cave, passed away way too early. Just got married, right?
Dan Snyder.
The
goaltender with the Columbus Blue Jackets, Mattis Kivlenets.
Oh, yeah.
Kivlenets.
My last year playing in Italy, a player got hit in the chest with a puck and passed away on the ice. Yeah, I didn't know his name, but it's we're delicate.
Adam
things.
Johnson last season on the ice.
Yeah,
right. That was scary. But yeah, here we are again. We're talking about another player's passing and his brother, former player Matthew Gaudreau. So. A lot of great texts coming in, and we appreciate that. And I'm going to read off a bunch of them. JKB says, man, the Gaudreau news hits hard. I'm a year older than him. I have a wife and daughter. I hate reminders of how fleeting life is. Rick in the Donut, great handle, says, it's Feel Bad Friday. Condolences to the hockey world, close friends, and especially his precious family. Jason and LeDuc reiterating, saying it's extra gut punch because they were in town together for their sister's wedding. It's crushing. Hug your loved ones. This one comes in and says, hug your wife. Tell your kids you love them. Gage, you're saying that too. And be in the moment. Life is short. That's Shane, the realtor. Jasmine says, passes along the confirmation and the report. Thank you, Jasmine. Tube Socks talking about Pelle Lindbergh.
Oh, God.
When he was a kid. Very sad.
Pelle was my favorite. He was so good.
And that was, I think they were about to play Edmonton, or Edmonton was in Philly at the. I remember talking to some
his
of the
Porsche into the school steps.
Oh man.
I was such a fan. And were we talking about Sports Illustrated articles
yesterday?
Yeah. So that's how you get your news. And I remember there was a big article on Pelle Lindbergh, and it was actually because he was an organ donor. And they interviewed the doctor, and they were talking about how, Pelle was having his heart, he was donating his heart, I guess. And the doctor, I guess this is with a lot of heart surgeons. I don't know. I'm just remembering kind of what this article said. It was a long time ago, but one passage of the article just always stuck with me. I guess a heart surgeon really knows what type of heart they're dealing with once they can get it in their hands.
Okay.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and they can really tell what it. And when he had Pelle Lindbergh's heart in his hands and was about to do the transplant, he said he's never held a more perfect heart in his life.
Wow.
And just like the condition of it, how perfect it was, and how the ease, and it was like, he was putting a massive engine into someone's body. It was
giving them a second life.
And that always stuck with me, that Pelle Lindbergh had the perfect heart, and from all accounts, he was such a good person, right? So it was inside and out with Pelle Lindbergh.
That's beautiful. I'm just surprised you know how to read. I'm kidding. That was very well said, Gage.
It was
very well said.
an audible Sports Illustrated back then on cassette.
You were listening on cassette. No, that's tragic, and sadly, here we are again, and the hockey world and sporting world as a whole mourns the death of Johnny Gaudreau, and his brother Matthew. Alleged drunk driver hit them while they were riding bikes yesterday. They were in town, in their hometown, for their sister's wedding. So, of course, all of us here at EST send our heartfelt condolences to the Gaudreau family. And a lot of great texts have been coming in, a lot of messages in the nasty chat as well. Jasmine adds, wild, you think you have it all, money, fame, and a beautiful family. And at 31 years old, it is tragically gone. A big hug to all the nasties today. Well said, Jasmine. All right, we're going to get to a sports update with Zach to come. It is the Nielson Show presented by South Fort Chevrolet. When we return, Hernan Salas will join us, and we'll talk about the Labor Day Classic coming up on Monday at McMahon Stadium, as well as the new show right here on EST. One of two new shows, actually, EST Afternoons with Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage. So the Latino Heat joins us right after this sports update with Zach to come.
Some devastating news has come out of the NHL this morning with the passing of Johnny Gaudreau. Johnny and his brother were struck by a car last night while riding a bike in Salem County, New Jersey. Both were pronounced dead on scene. Johnny Gaudreau was 31 years old, and his brother Matthew was 29. Carolina Hurricanes forward Jesper Fast is expected to miss the entirety of next season after undergoing neck surgery. The 32-year-old had 6 goals and 13 assists in 73 games last year for the club. Yesterday, the Golden State Warriors re-signed Steph Curry to a 1-year extension worth over $60 million. With the extension, Curry becomes the first NBA player to get paid $60 million in a single season. Another big contract was signed by the San Francisco 49ers, extending wide receiver Brandon Ayuk to a 4-year deal worth $120 million. This contract ties him for the 5th highest paid receiver in the NFL. Regular season action kicks off Thursday night when the Ravens play the Chiefs. Catch Lieutenant Eric at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge every Tuesday and Thursday night football throughout the entire season. In the Canadian game, Labor Day weekend kicks off when the BC Lions duke it out against the Red Blacks. The big boss, Dustin Nielson, will be making the call for that 5 o'clock start. From Calgary, the Elks get back at it Labor Day Monday when they face the Stampeders. Matthew Iwanek and Jay Milne will prime you for the action on the Green and Gold Kickoff show starting at 3. As for every Elks games, the boys will be live from the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Come on down and watch the game. This sports update is brought to you by the staff and Principal Mitch Lewicki at Park Mazda. Mitch Lewicki, we should have taken him on back and shot him a long time ago. These liners are nuts. I didn't read that one until I had that one. There's some crazy ones on here. Crazy.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a figure skater. He wears like a white outfit and he does interpretive ice dances to my life's journey.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
$7:32. This is the Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Brought to you by South Fort Chevrolet. Tom Gazzola and Joaquin Gage in for the boys. LTE, an extended long weekend for him. And then Dusty, the work never stops for Dusty. He will be calling Touchdown Pacific tomorrow in Victoria. BC Lions taking on the Ottawa Red Blacks. And, of course, the CFL will also see Toronto and Hamilton. It's Labor Day Classics, obviously. Edmonton and Calgary on Monday. And then you've got the Winnipeg Blue Bombers visiting the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. It's going to be a great weekend in the CFL. Gager on his second monitor has P1 going of this weekend's race down at Monza. And then we've also got college football. We've got, what else? The NFL kicking off next week. It's just busy. Baseball, it's starting to get into where they don't go drinking the night
players,
before.
Golf, the I
saw
Scotty
Open Championship, isn't it? No, not Open. I've lost track of golf.
I know. There seems to be something.
Tour Championship.
Yeah. And he's leading.
Shocking.
Someone said like hasn't been someone this dominant since Tiger.
Well, think of his year, Gager. Like he's won everything.
Everything.
Olympics. He got arrested at one tournament.
Yeah.
Spent a day in jail. And he's just. I think he have a kid recently too.
Yeah, because it was during the Masters, I think.
Yeah.
He was wasn't he leading and saying, "Yeah, I might have to go" or something. I don't, or it might have not been that. Yeah, like crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah,
that type of success. That it's just. He treats it like it's, well, I'm just going to win this thing too, right? It's. Have you watched that Full Swing on?
I have. I watched the second season. I think I got a few episodes in. I got to the Joel Damon and
I only watched
Gino.
the first few.
Yeah.
I liked it. I just, for some reason, I didn't stick with it.
It's good.
Yeah, it is good.
It is good. I have not watched the tennis one.
Tennis one's great.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. The Marty Fish one is unbelievable.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, really cool.
At the U.S. Open, our Canadians had a tough go this week.
Oh,
right?
gosh. Yeah.
I think, 4 of them
All
went down
bounced.
on the same day?
Yeah.
Include Bianca. I was watching Bianca's match.
Were you?
And
how is she? Just not. I mean, she was plagued by injuries even before she won the U.S. Open. Like, that was her big knock. And it just seems like she's just...
It's not there.
It's spare part. Like, she just can't...
That's
her
tough.
body's breaking down. I mean, tennis
Too young.
Yeah.
Tennis is grueling. Every sport is grueling.
Yeah, but the most of the sports biographies or autobiographies that I've read are all tennis, and they're fascinating. But the hard courts, just murder on their bodies.
I can only imagine, like the torque on their knees, and then obviously when they're swinging the racket and serving, like that's got to be. Obviously, the sports science today is fantastic compared to what it was 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago. But yeah, her body has had a tough go.
Coming up, we got a guy that's good on grass. So
hey now, great body as well. You could text us 780-218-9999, Paris Jewelers inbox. We've got some great texts that have come in, outpouring of love, emotion, and support, obviously for Johnny Gaudreau, and we will pick text of the day Brought to you by A&W. Mama knows a good price and that the simple pleasures are the best, so look no further. You can now enjoy a Mama Burger combo and a kids pack for just $12.49. That's a Mama Burger, fries, a regular A&W root beer, a kids Buddy Burger. I love the Buddy Burgers. They're great. A little side of apple slices, a made good granola bar, and a milk to go, all for $12.49. Hurry in. Offer is available for a limited time at participating A&W restaurants. Most A&W drive-thru locations are open 24 hours for your convenience. All right. Is Hernan ready? Give me a thumbs up, Nancito. There he is. He's sipping on his coffee. Let's bring him in. Hernan Salas, the Latino Heat. So good to share the airwaves with him anytime. We'll be able to do it on a regular basis as he kicks off EST Afternoons with Joaquin Gage on Tuesday. And Hernan, we'll start with the news of the day. And you and I on the pre- and post-game show, and mostly post-game shows, would be talking about Johnny Gaudreau lighting up the Oilers. And that was as a member of the Calgary Flames. And today we're talking about the tragic passing of an NHL superstar along with his brother. What went through your mind when you saw the news, bud?
Yeah, it's kind of similar to you, Tommy. Last night before I went to bed, you do that one last scroll through Twitter, and you're seeing all these reports, and you kind of go to bed hoping you wake up and it wasn't true. And then just seeing my phone this morning, it's just very sad. Just, oh man, unimaginable for that family. And like you said, Tommy, like, you know, we cover the Oilers, and we saw Johnny Gaudreau torch the Oilers a lot. He was the guy that he just drove you crazy because he was that damn good. You know, he had a little bit of that Patty Kane in him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he came in with the name Johnny Hockey, and like I said, those were some tough times for the Oil, and Johnny didn't let him off the hook. A lot of nights they played him. So very sad. The hockey world, the sports world this morning, you're seeing LeBron James and other athletes from different sports sending out their condolences. So just a very sad day, and I think you guys are doing a great job. I know it's always tough when this kind of news breaks on during the week, and you got to talk about it, and you got to continue to do the show and all that. So kudos to you guys too as well, and all the people texting in and on the nasty chat sending in their stories and their condolences. But yeah, very, very sad to wake up to the news today.
Yeah, absolutely horrific news. Okay. Gager, anything you want to hit on with
No,
Johnny Gaudreau and Hernan? Or?
I mean, Hernan, you just said it. Comes into the league being named Johnny Hockey, and very and lived up to it though. You know, that's the thing. I mean, you're no stranger to that Latino Heat. You've embraced that. You're no stranger to monikers. But no, it's very rarely do you see a player come into any sport with that kind of name or nickname or recognition, and it stuck. Like if you said anywhere, anyone with knowledge about hockey, but I think you could go across Canada and say, who is Johnny Hockey? And everyone would say Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah, obviously.
And at a time when, the smaller players were having a tough time, sticking around the NHL, like you had the elites, like the Patty Kanes and those guys, but Johnny came in, and I remember we all looked at him and said, there's no way. And he just kept, he got better and better. And I know he took some, for going to Columbus, some heat there, but he wanted to be closer to his family, and that team now is looking to turn it around. And it's just sad that he there's not the opportunity there anymore. And you just go back and you think about all the Johnny Gaudreau moments, and he was a great player, and he's going to be missed by many. And you feel so. I know, like Gager said it, like I just can't imagine what his parents and sisters and wife, and it's just it's unimaginable. It's just very, very tragic.
Awful news today in the hockey world, the sporting world as a whole, and we'll continue to pass along information as it is made available and confirmed. Obviously, we want to stick to what the releases are saying, and we don't want to go off of hearsay or anything like that. But Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew passing away last night, getting hit by an alleged drunk driver in their hometown. In town, the two were for their sister's upcoming wedding. So absolutely awful. And that's part of the business, unfortunately, when you're in news information, sports information, is you got to talk about the bad stuff as well as all the fun stuff. Like wins and losses like we used to do back at 1260, like we are going to do again here on EST. And you and Joaquin now have EST afternoons, Hernan. And when Dusty told me about that, I was really, really excited. It was in the press box at Commonwealth. And then I was doing the oil stream with Dusty, and he's like, hey, do you know who Hernan's co-host is? And he put up Joaquin's headshot from his Oilers days. And I was like, no way. It's great to have. I mean, it's like bringing you back home, and you get to work with Joaquin. So what do you think people should expect from this show, and what are you guys kind of cooking up? Not to give away too much.
Yeah, no, it's we haven't Gager. I think we've met twice, and our big meeting on Wednesday was the first time we actually sat down. We were able to put some stuff together, and just because our schedules right now, I'm still with the Elk. Today's my last day there, so it's kind of it's a little bit emotional for me today to go in there and say bye to everybody for one last time, and then I'll be back there as a supporting and a spectator, I guess. Yeah, exactly. Covering next year and all that. But no, it's we I think Dusty gave us some good advice. Just let it flow. And sometimes the best segments come from a random conversation on the show and stuff like that. We do have stuff planned. We do have guests that we're looking into and trying to grab some regulars as well as we go through here. But just have some fun. And I couldn't ask for a better co-host in Joaquin. I always tell, 90s always grow. Like 90s is my wheelhouse for the Oilers, like the 90s teams, and Joaquin was part of that. And it's funny, my dad this weekend, he's like, hey, did your co-host the goalie that played for the Oilers? I'm like, yeah. He's like, that's crazy. Like, it's just, to be sitting at a desk and your job is to talk sports for 2 hours with Joaquin Gage. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better.
Hernan, I want to know, I love the origin stories. How did it all come about? Like you coming back to, when was the decision made? How were you approached?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I saw the postings, and then the Read News broke, and then there's the afternoon show, and I was like, like it was similar to me going from 1260 to the Elks. You're not looking to leave, right? Like you're pretty. You're pretty happy where you're at, but I saw an opportunity and I was like, so I inquired first and talked to Dusty and Maddie and just said, what's this all about? And then we got together and had some lunch and chat, and things kind of started to flow through there. Me and Dusty started talking, and then, numbers are going back and forth and all that. And then they just said, yeah, it's yours if you want it. And it took me about a week to come to a conclusion. You got to talk to your partner and you don't make decisions by yourself. And then just, do you want to leave? Do you want to take this next step back to radio? So it was a tough decision because I love the Elks. I love, there's great people there. There's outstanding people there. And, Evan Dom gave me my opportunity there, and I'll be always grateful for that. And he's become a really good friend. And Evan Jones, who's the marketing manager there, and a lot of good people, but I just thought it was the best move for me right now, and looking forward to getting back on the airways and talking a lot of sports and having some fun.
Sailor via the nasty chat says, I'm here for the heat and meat. In regard to you two, you talk about EJ, Evan Jones, you talk about Evan Dom. On the sidelines, I think it was Mike Arcuri who's going to be filling your role for the rest of the year over at the Elks after today. Actually, and I think it was EJ too, on the sidelines when it was finally revealed to me that you were coming back to us. They were like, man, this hurts and this and that. And and I was like, yeah. And then it just clicked in my mind. I'm like, hey, you know what? Now you guys know how we felt at 1260 when you took him. So I know the sentiment, and you were great with the Elks, obviously. You would always ask me back at 1260, hey, Tommy, you were with the team when this happened, and that was on the Oilers side of things. And I would always say, like, listen, I was doing media, but yes, I was part of the organization, and you're stuck at the hip with the team. Now you've had, 2.5 years with a team, obviously one that went through a lot of adversity. What did you learn about being on the team side that maybe you didn't know before when you were on the media side?
Yeah, it's fascinating. And, Gager played pro, so, like, he knows the inner workings of the dressing rooms and how things go down. And for me, it was fascinating because media was always involved in the trades and who were drafting and releasing and signings. Like I was always kind of the first guy to know outside of football ops. So for me, that was so cool because I'm such a geek when it comes to those kind of things, right? Like I love trades and I love who we taking and let's keep it quiet. And I thought we did an excellent job this year of keeping our first overall pick quiet and you take pride in those things. But yeah, like you said, some tough times. On and off the field for the organization. But, it just makes you stronger, man. You learn from those experiences, I think, more than when you're just rolling and it's all happy and all success. So I think it's made me a better person, better, employee, and just appreciating, everything. It's you see, when there's tough times, it's easy to pile on. And listen, it's on the field and the play and all that, it's always going to be fair. I've been on both sides of media, and I think people at the Elks, as long as it's fair criticism, it's okay. It's like they're like, bring it on. But when there's piling on from people that don't watch or don't go to games, and it's just let's just pile on because it's the Elks and they're struggling right now. That gets a little bit frustrating. And the stuff I learned too is a lot of people report stuff that. It's sometimes not sometimes, but a lot of it is wrong. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just sitting there and I'm like, no, that's incorrect, but whatever. You let it go and like you said, it's just when you see that much people working hard and yes, there's things to improve on in every aspect and in every organization, but when you know the people and you see how much work they put in, it's hard to take sometimes when you see a lot of the online stuff and all that. But like I said, on the field, the struggles, no one's hiding from it, and it's all fair game in that sense. But yeah, it's you learned a lot in that, Tommy. We saw a lot of people, we saw a lot of changes go through. We saw some struggles on the field, so. But I truly believe they're turning it around. They got a great group of guys. Jay Jack's doing an excellent job as well as G. Roy. And like I said, new owner and Rick's done a fabulous job. And Evan Dom's kind of right there leading the charge as well. So things will turn. And when they turn, it's going to be great to see.
No, that's great, man. I can't wait to start working with you. I've already, as your love for the 90s Oilers, I've already reached out and tried to appease my partner with some reminiscing with a few old Oilers maybe before the season starts and get their takes on what's going to happen. So some familiar faces from that maybe look a little aged now, but will be gracing our airwaves.
I hope that he asked. Well, I was just going to say, Nan, so please tell me you asked Joaquin to get in touch with Zdeno Segar.
Segar, I mean, if you get the Russian tank on the show, I'll probably pass out. But Andrei Kovalenko, I don't know if you played with him or not.
I did. Yeah, he was a tank too. He looked his body. If you went into the shower, he looked like one of those 50s heavyweight champions. No definition, but just a brick. It was crazy. I'll try to get
Tommy,
Igor Ulanov. That would be great.
Yeah. That would be amazing.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Tommy. Kovalenko's son's on the Avalanche?
I think he's a prospect. Didn't
he play a game last year or something like that?
I'll double check that, but I mean, they called him the Russian tank for a reason.
There's a gentleman in the city who owns a little beer spot, and he is a huge 90s Oilers fan. So when I go have a beer there, and I haven't been there in a long time, but when I do, man, we just talk 90s Oilers because those teams, because it was before salary cap, and the Oilers couldn't really compete with the top teams when it came to signing big names. Yeah. But they had such talented players. I can talk all day about the 90s Oilers. Like I love Jason Arnott. Smitty was up there, Dougie Wade. Like you said, the Russian guys, like my favorite Russian was Bobo Mironov. Like it's just outstanding guys. And they were always beating the big dogs in the first round. They wouldn't go past that, but the Dallas win, and then next year they beat the Colorado Avalanche, and it's just fantastic stuff.
Yeah, no, I'll try to get Jason Bunn Sr. on. We'll just let him go and tell us how Slats ruined his hockey career.
Oh, boy.
It's fantastic.
Nikolai, I can't wait for that interview. Nikolai Kovalenko made his NHL debut with the Avs. Nicely done, Hernan. on April 28th of this year in a 5-1 win over the Winnipeg Jets, Game 4 of the first round of the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs. So there you go.
I remember seeing that, and that's so cool.
Yeah,
so cool to see. It just shows how old we are, Gager. Like,
I know. It's a lot of experience on this.
Wisdom and experience. We're joined by Hernan Salas. Last day as a member of the Edmonton Elks is today, and on Tuesday, he and Joaquin will launch EST Afternoons right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, 1 o'clock to 3 p.m., and that'll be followed up by the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. Super excited about that. All right, Nanso, we were talking about this big Labor Day matchup between the Elks and the Stamps at McMahon. You've been on the field for a few of these. What do you anticipate? Because I honestly, if Trey Ford is good to go, even with McLeod Bethel Thompson, I think the Elks have a chance here to pull off a win and maybe make something special happen in the rematch here in Edmonton.
Yeah, the Elks are, definitely playing better. Outside of one quarter in Montreal, they you feel like you should have had that game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the Labor Day Classics, it's always a classic. It's always fun. And you know what, being there, Tommy, I don't know if you've been to that Labor Day in Calgary.
I've been to like 7.
I know everybody talks about the stadium and all that, but it's a different vibe. You get to fly over, the stands are packed, and it's just a different energy. It truly feels like a playoff.
Do you get chirped? Do you guys get chirped hard?
Yeah. I was when you're walking, they'll yell at you or chant. Like I remember in Sask, we were 0-7, and pregame we were all walking by like where the beer stands are, like right in the end zone, and they're chanting 0-7. And they chirp the players a lot more than they do the staff, but yeah, we get chirped quite a bit. In a lot of the stadiums, you're really close to the stands.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can hear it. In Winnipeg, there's one gentleman, but he's great because he doesn't swear and he's funny.
Oh.
Like we're even on the sidelines, like we giggle. We're like, yeah, that was a good one. It was a good chirp, he's just really, really good. And then there's a guy in Hamilton who's the opposite of that. He's with his kids, little kids, and he's just swearing like nonstop at us. Like it's just crazy. So you get a little bit of everything, but that's what the CFL is great. So yeah, but the Calgary game, like I said, Tommy, and it is a playoff game, I think, for both teams, right? They're only one game apart. It'd be great for the Elks to pick up that win and try to sweep the series. These next 4 games for the Elks are incredibly important. It's 2 with Calgary, 2 with Winnipeg, kind of 2 teams they're chasing. And the West is wide open, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess I can't reveal too much, but I think they're going to go in and give them a good game because, a lot of the times Calgary, back in the Bo Levi or the when they had all those elite quarterbacks, sometimes it'd be a rout.
Dickinson.
Yeah. So, but they did win in 2021. I feel last year, we should have won. We were up, I think, 2 scores going into the 4th, and then Jake Mayer had a really good 4th quarter. So, it's going to be it's going to be fun. Hope the boys can pull it out. I'll be supporting and watching on Monday from my place here. It's going to be tough not to be there because it's one of my favorite games to go to, but. Hoping they can get the 2 points and keep making some hay in the West.
I have one more for you, unless you got one.
No, I'm. I was thinking. Just crossed my mind. We should probably see if we can get together and watch the game. That would be maybe at Century Park Casino and with the boys.
That'd be good.
Have one of those. What was the?
Is it a loaded burger?
Loaded burger.
Monday,
yeah, something.
I for whatever reason, when Matthew talks about the specials, actually when Eric does too at Century Casino,
I get
Sports
really
Bar,
famished.
I'm like, I could go for one of those, and the prices are great. And actually, that's a great kitchen. They do a good job. The menu is awesome, and the food is excellent. Okay, not only is EST Afternoons launching on Tuesday, but you will be rejoining me on the pre and post game show, which I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't do the pre-game show together. Connor Halley would do it. You would come on the post-game show and get very angry, especially when the Oilers were playing poorly, and there was a lot of those nights. And I loved it.
a lot of those nights.
Yeah, I loved it. I would torment you because I would talk, and then I'd lull, and I would kind of like see the look in your eyes across the way, and you're ready to tear into them. And then I'd keep going, and just to wind you up a little bit more. But now we get to rekindle that magic, hopefully, and I think I will, and you will, knock on wood. But what are you looking forward to when it comes to pre and post working with your boy here?
Yeah, it's great. Like I know when we announced on Dusty's show, I said that was kind of like where I got my start. Like my first full time shifts were with Elks pre and post and Oilers post, right? So it's kind of different than just a regular sports show, right? Because you're just breaking down one team. You're kind of breaking down what happens, good or bad, and then the passion of the fans here is just so great, and it's all over the place. Like I remember watching you, Tommy, during the playoff run, and I don't know how you kept track of the nasty chat because it was
I couldn't.
it was
I let
just
Gager handle it.
crazy the amount of messages coming in. A lot of good ones were missed because it's almost impossible to keep track of what's coming in, right? Because you can't really tag it like you do with the text line. So I just love the passion of the fans here, and I'm glad to be on talking again. And this team is different than when we last covered it. Like we went through some hard times with the Oil where it was kind of like it was always a loss, or it's just something that was hampering the team at that in those moments. But looking forward to it. I mean, I can't imagine what you guys are going through when the Oilers start in that San Jose game, being in last place. Like the hot takes and the takes just in general were amazing. And I was like, man, that's when you miss it, right? It's when things are going so bad. But then on the flip side, the 16-game win streak, beating Vancouver in 7 games and, going to the finals, like, you sit back, you're like, man, I wish I was part of that. Because it's so cool, right? To see the passion of the fans and everything. So I'm looking forward to it, Tom. It's going to be fun. Hopefully there's not too much heat because that means the Oilers are doing excellent. But I'm sure there will be some nights when we both get a little bit fired up. And with Matty Cassian too, who I've really liked. Like he's really he's getting more and more fired up as we go here. And just ask him about analytics and you'll get him going. So,
and Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to text him that picture of Connor McDavid in a poorly photoshopped Leafs jersey.
I saw that,
that was good. But Hernan, I haven't seen so many Oilers fans actually hoping that the Oilers are bad just so they can hear you go off. It's amazing, right? So
because I remember I went to Hudson's one day and I showed up with the GF and it was the Toronto game and it was like 5 minutes in and they were getting torched like 3-0. And the Oilers are still having a good year at that point, but like even those games, like because you're breaking down the game that you just watched. And I remember Dusty joined you and Dusty was pretty fired up at Evan Bouchard, and that's what you miss, right? Because you don't do a post-game show on the whole season. You do it on the game you just watched. So and the Oilers are going to have their bad nights. So I'm sure we'll have some fun with that.
Yes, we will. Nature Boy texting in saying, welcome back to the Latino Heat, Hernan. I hope the Oilers don't have very many stinkers next season, but I can't wait until the day after they have one to hear Hernan's take. So there you go. People are very excited about this. Nan, so I'm super excited. Thank you for hopping on today, giving us a bit of a teaser into what to expect next week on EST Afternoons with our boy Joaquin Gage. Buddy, enjoy your last day with the Elks, and we can't wait to have you back in the fold.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
There is the Latino Heat. Hernan Salas, great to hear from him. Good stuff, and a little bit of an update and look ahead to the Labor Day Classic. All right, get your questions in for 3 questions too many. If you have anything you want to ask Gager, fire those our way or via the nasty chat. And, of course, we need somebody to play Kinda Easy Trivia. Gager will be asking you and peppering you with questions. So text us that you want to play 780-218-9999, the Paris Jewelers inbox. Zacticum will pick someone right after this sports update.
Some devastating news has come out of the NHL this morning with the passing of Columbus Blue Jackets forward Johnny Gaudreau. Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew were struck by a car last night while bike riding in Salem County, New Jersey. Both were pronounced dead on scene. Johnny Gaudreau was 31 and his brother Matthew was 29. Carolina Hurricanes forward Jesper Fast is expected to miss all of next season after undergoing neck surgery. The 32-year-old had 6 goals and 13 assists in 73 appearances last year. Yesterday, the Golden State Warriors re-signed Steph Curry to a 1-year extension worth over $60 million. With the extension, Curry becomes the first NBA player to get paid $60 million to play just for one season. Another big contract was signed with the San Francisco 49ers, extending wide receiver Brandon Ayuk to a 4-year deal worth $120 million. This contract ties him as the 5th highest paid receiver in the NFL. Regular season action kicks off Thursday night when the Ravens played the Chiefs. Catch Lieutenant Eric at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge every Monday and Thursday for Thursday night football throughout the entire season. In the Canadian game, Labor Day weekend kicks off tomorrow night when the BC Lions duke it out against the Red Blacks. The big boss, Dustin Nielson, will be making the call for that 5 o'clock start. From Calgary, the Elks face the Stampeders on Labor Day Monday. Matthew Iwanek and Jay Milne got you covered on the Green and Gold kickoff show that starts at 3. As for every Elks games, the boys will be live from the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Come on down and watch the game. This sports update has been brought to you by Claiborne Services. Take your career to the next level with Claiborne Services. They're hiring all positions, including journeyman bricklayers and apprentices of all levels. Take advantage of their outstanding mentorship program and work with peace of mind, knowing that they are an industry leader in safety. Visit Claiborne, www.claiborneservices.com, or make it easy and give Jeff a call at 780-910-6728.
Step closer to the hollow, the devil may care. If I showed you around my heart, would you mind if I shared to show you what's wrong with me? I will not change it. I will wait patiently while you get painted out. Let me into your untainted tribe to be the one who gets to live a lie. I'll be a perfect stranger. I wanna be that stupid boy that you don't talk about. You better believe there's a sharp knife beside my bed. You better believe there's a sharp knife inside my head. And if you will leave, I will take you by the hand. You and I would leave, but it wouldn't be that.
8:04 in Edmonton. Good morning. Happy Friday to you. It is the Nielson Show. Tom Gazzola in for Dusty. Joaquin Gage in for Lieutenant Eric. Zach to come on the other side of the monitors here in the EST studios. Louisiana, or Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen Studio to be exact. You can text us via the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. We're going to get to 3 questions too many. We're getting someone lined up for kind of easy trivia. Joaquin will be providing the questions, of course. Kind of easy trivia brought to you by Mr. Mike's. Also, Katherine Plouffe, Canadian Olympian, fresh off a 4th place finish at the 3x3 Paris Olympics in basketball. And it was like a heartbreaking buzzer beater.
Oh, no.
They lost on. Yeah, and those games are quick. They happen really quickly. Yeah. It was really cool to watch.
Did you go watch it when it was here? Were you?
I saw them because I live right across the street.
I wanted to go, but family stuff popped up.
And I saw some highlights and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
it looked great.
It's like really intense.
We had Sir on talking about the whole setup and how
it was. They had the tent and
how fantastic
it doesn't take up a ton of space.
No.
And I was watching it in. I was down in Arizona, and I'm like, okay, we have to see how the Plouffe sisters are doing. They're from Edmonton. All I could get was the American stuff because we were down there, and then I had to go find it, and I showed them, and the boys were like, what is this?
Americans.
I'm like, it's 3x3, baby. It was good. So Katherine Plouffe joining us in about 10 minutes' time. We do have Sobeys and Safeway Liquor Beer of the Week. Blair from Tail Gunner Brewing will be joining us around 8:30. Keep those texts coming in. 3 questions too many right after kind of easy trivia. We want to hear from you. All right. We have somebody on the line. Who do we have, Zach, to come?
We got Corey.
Corey. Excellent. All right, Corey, good morning. Time now to get to kind of easy trivia. Brought to you by Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual, the casualest place ever in the Hampton Inn on the corner of 137th Ave and Mark Messier Trail, now with 6 o'clocker lager on tap. Corey, are you ready for the heat that Gager's going to throw at you?
Oh, let's do it.
All right, Gager, take it away, brother.
All right, Corey, here we go. Zach will start the timer after I read the first question. Is it a long weekend?
Yes.
What color of clothing can't you wear after Labor Day?
Red.
What San Francisco 49er wide receiver signed a 4-year, $120 million extension?
Brandon Ayuk.
Who do the Elks play this weekend?
Stamps.
In what F1 is in what country this weekend? Italy or Guam?
Oh, who cares?
He did it.
And he got it! That is why I did it! At number 5! Are you kidding me? That's right! Who do you think you are? I am! Get it right!
You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.
That's a paddling.
Oh, we've been strong. We're just playing by the rules.
Oh, you better believe that's a paddling.
And I was in Miami with my new beach house. Well, it was a couple minutes from the beach.
That's a paddling.
The first year, we took it to the limit.
Take it to the limit.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
Congratulations, Corey.
No congratulations to Corey.
Winning kind of easy trivia. Yeah. Brought to you by Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual. He picks up a GC to Mr. Mike's, and he doesn't care about F1. Obviously, it's in Guam this weekend.
I'm taking that gift certificate, Corey. I'm going to send you a picture of me eating a fabulous steak bites and a Mike's burger.
Of course.
How dare you? How dare you?
Besmirching F1 like that. All right, we have a few minutes before we get to Katherine Plouffe. If you have any questions for 3 questions too many, fire those our way. Of course, 3 questions too many, brought to you by Park Mazda, your dealer for life. Mitch Lewicki says he will wear white after Labor Day if he
what did he say? Red?
Damn well so chooses. Yeah, he said red.
Okay.
It's white. And,
it's white.
Yeah, I'm decked out in all white, so I guess this is my last
You're
week.
Getting it in. So. That a boy. Tom.
Yeah, whatever.
What is the... I should look that
I don't
up.
understand the rationale behind that. I don't really care for... I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't like socks with... or slides with socks. I'm just becoming... Don't laugh over there. You wear that stuff. You wear Birkenstocks. Stupidest look ever. 90s are back. Speaking of 90s clothing is back. So
yeah. It's true.
It's just cyclical.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see you in low-rise jeans again.
I can't wait. There's a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
You're to join the
Get
club.
in line. All right, I'm going to fire some questions your way. This one comes in from Dolphicorn Love 69. Great handle via the nasty chat. Apropos, I suppose. Draisaitl going to sign today or after the long weekend, Joaquin?
No one wants to hear what I think about this, but
go on.
Oh, I don't think Leon Draisaitl is going to sign with the Edmonton Oilers.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I just don't think it's going to happen.
Wow.
I think he's going to test the waters in free agency. Okay, let me rephrase that. I don't think he's going to sign this year. Like, he's going to wait until he hits unrestricted free agency. I don't think it gets to the point where he signs. He might still sign with Edmonton, but I think he's going to look at what's out there.
See, I could see that. Like, he seems like the type that doesn't like to be rushed into things. He wants to explore. He's curious.
Yeah.
I think his heart lies here, though. I disagree. I think he will sign.
Yeah,
but I could very well be wrong.
Yeah. I'm not saying he won't be an Oiler come next year at this time. There's a good possibility he will, but I think we'll get to the point. This will be the talk of training camp. Then the talks will stall into probably the first week of November, and then it's going to be the blanket. We're not talking about this.
Right.
I don't want questions about this.
Right.
And that's going to be it. And then you won't hear about it And you've said it. The leaks. The Jeff Jackson's been the little Dutch boy in the dike, putting his fingers in there. He's been plugging them, and you don't hear much as you used to. So,
that is true.
And I think if it does happen, it'll be out of the blue. But no, I think Leon's going to look to see, and I don't
take a peek around.
Why not? Why wouldn't you? You know,
you only get this chance like once or twice.
Yeah,
especially a guy like that. Your boy Barron says, if that happens, you need to trade him. We'll see.
No,
Obviously.
you don't. No, you don't.
Do you want to win this year?
Yeah, this happened my last year with the Oilers. You don't do that. You take a run at it. It's essentially he becomes that pickup at the deadline that you're probably going to lose anyway.
Mm.
All right, because they did this with Bill Guerin and nothing against Anson Carter. I've said this before, but he wasn't Bill Guerin. Like you want to see a guy that was loved and adored by his teammates. I mean, we were all over at his house that night, the day he got traded, and guys were bawling and sobbing. It was brutal.
Damn.
And I that first series against the Stars, they had a lot of power, but I really think with Bill Guerin in the lineup playing with Dougie and Ryan Smith, I don't know if we win the series, but it definitely goes 7. And
that team was good. You guys finished 6th that year.
Yeah,
I remember.
And the big issue was they got Nieuwendyk back late, so they were at half capacity. Like he was a huge. Getting him back was ridiculous, and we would have had. And I think he didn't come back till Game 6. Or maybe it was Game 5. I'd have to look. But I think we probably pull out another victory with Bill Guerin and go on to round 2 that year if that doesn't happen. So, no, you keep Leon and go for it. That's ridiculous because you're not going to get the fair trade back.
Bill Guerin, Doug Waite, and Ryan Smith were the best line in the NHL for the first month and a half that season.
Dominant. Yeah. No one could handle those guys. Yeah. It was the perfect mesh of the Moulet in the corners and no one could get the puck off him. Billy, just a beast, power forward, and the slick moves of Doug Waite, just nasty, absolutely nasty.
All right. Also, kind of hard to negotiate a contract when the GM and CEO of the team aren't even in town.
Yeah, that's
there you go.
That's another difficult thing to do.
All right. It is 3 questions to many, brought to you by Park Mazda. Second one, this is in regard to what CB Radio guy's throwing out there. It says, Tommy, Birks and socks, get a couple extra months out of them. When the colder months hit, you get a couple extra months with the socks and the Birks. Fall fashion, Birks and socks. You like, dislike?
Yeah, if you like being single, yeah, that's, you want some alone time? Throw the Birks and socks on. Look at Zach. He's crying over there.
He is crying. He feels like we're attacking him personally. We're not. We're just saying it's a bad look.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a look for Halloween, actually.
Boom. Last question for 3 questions. Too many. Are you a pumpkin spice latte basic B?
I used to be, but I find it's not as good anymore. I have it. It just tastes like cinnamon. It's not like true pumpkin.
Okay.
I make the Emerald's pumpkin cheesecake. I haven't done it in a while. The rest of my family makes it now, but it's good. Like I like pumpkin. Don't get me wrong, but the pumpkin spice latte doesn't do it for me anymore.
I don't care for the pumpkin spice latte. I'm not gonna lie to you. I keep seeing memes on social media and mostly ladies putting it out there like, hook it to my veins, get me some PSLs.
Yeah.
You're gonna after Labor Day, look out.
I'll have it once, and I'll go, I don't like this.
Yes,
because it came from a time when I was in Germany. I remember playing, and we would go to Nuremberg because there was a Starbucks close to the rink, and we'd all go. And I remember going into the Weihnachtsmarkt and going to the Starbucks and cruising around with a pumpkin spice latte. And it was probably because I didn't have it in a long time,
right?
But no, I don't. I'm reminded about how much I don't like them.
I dislike pumpkin spice latte. That was 3 questions too many, brought to you by the fine folks over at Park Mazda. Do you think Mitch Lewicki, dealer principal, is a big PSL guy? He's a jack of all trades. He's a little bit of everything, eccentric, if you will.
Yeah.
Is he walking around with?
No, I don't think he drinks it, but he carves the pumpkins.
He carves the pumpkins. He's got a PSL scarf, Birks and socks on, being a basic bee around Park Mazda. I don't know.
Sorry,
what a terrible mental image that was. All right, it is the Nielson Show. Tom Gazzola in for Dusty Nielson. He's calling Touchdown Pacific tomorrow in Victoria. BC Lions taking on the Ottawa Red Blacks, and Joaquin Gage filling in for Lieutenant Eric Gager and Hernan Salas kicking off EST afternoons next Tuesday, 1 to 3 p.m. As we continue on hour number 3 of the show, text us 780-218-9999. And then, of course, you can get into the nasty chat. And this next guest was educated on the nasty chat yesterday at the Damon Bunting Golf Tournament. Katherine Plouffe, Canadian Olympian, 3x3 basketball, and Edmonton girl. And Katherine, how did the golf tournament go, first of all? Because I had a great time. How did it go on the course for you?
You know what? Speaking from a point of view of never having golfed in 18-hole, I think it went pretty well.
Well, you're an athlete.
Yeah, so I just need some coaching, and we can improve from there. But it was a fun time. Glad to have come out, and met some great people there.
Yeah, it was an excellent time.
I think you need some more time for this. No, I'm just kidding. I'm over them. I think I've had many years of pumpkin spice lattes, and unless it's fait maison, made from home, I think I'll pass.
See, Gager, you're one. You like to get in the kitchen and you cook up a storm. Like if you made it, like Katherine said, at home, would it be different because you don't?
Oh
like the
yeah,
PSL?
you could because you get the you become the mad scientist, right? You get on the Breville and maybe get the right mixture of. And I don't mess around. I don't know about you, Katherine, but I mean you've been all over the world. You don't mess around with like 2% milk in your cappuccinos, right? Just go full fat,
full milk.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So then full milk and with a little spice in there. Maybe I just stick my finger and mix it like that, Tommy, just to.
Whatever works for you, Gager. Whatever works for you. Okay, we were talking. You say world traveler Katherine Plouffe joining us now. She was at the Olympics in Paris. I know the result. It was heartbreaking, and everyone here was rooting for you. We had Paul Sir on, pumping you guys up, getting us previewed for the Olympics. How our men and women would do on the court in basketball. Just give us your take on the experience, Katherine, and how it all went down for you.
Yeah, well, we finished 4th, so that is a tricky place to finish as an athlete going in when you want a medal. But overall, great experience. I think even though we finished like that, it hasn't lessened our 5-year journey trying to get there. So it's been a whirlwind for sure. The Olympics themselves, great experience. Glad I had one under my belt previously to know just what we were heading into a games, like the whole experience was going to be with being in the village, transport to a venue, how long everything takes to even just get on the court. It's quite a process. But I mean, my favorite part was just getting on the court and competing. So that's what I was most looking forward to. Yes, the village, yes, like being in Paris, but I was just most looking forward to getting on the court and, putting all the work we put in for 5 years and now getting a chance to finally do it on the big stage. So we're super grateful. I think our team was so supported, and we felt that even though we came up short, but we felt so supported nonetheless.
Well, you guys did everyone proud, and obviously, people are rooting for you. You put on the red and white and the maple leaf and all that, and 4th place, nothing to be ashamed about. I know you wanted better. You wanted to medal, and I saw your quotes and reading everything after the loss, which was tough. It's understandable, but you still represented. You were still there. You get the experience, and you're going to continue on. But what can you say about the way 3x3 is growing, and where do you want to see this go? And how has the support been? Is there room for growth in terms of getting more support for the next wave of players in this new venture in basketball? How would you describe all of that?
Yeah, that was about 5 questions, but I'll do my best.
I know, I do that. I
think
apologize.
The sport has grown so much. I think even just coming back to Canada and hearing how many people who didn't know about the sport were watching, which is really cool. I think like having it broadcasted on TV is huge for a sport, as our tournaments and events as part of the World Tour are usually only on YouTube, and unless someone is going there really on purpose, it's hard to find. So it's growing for sure, and I think parents and coaches alike see the value of their kids being in it, which is awesome. You get more touches to actually play and touch the basketball. 5-on-5 is great. It's different skill set that you're going to develop. So I think it's growing, and I think that's great. I think it will continue to grow as schools and communities start to have separate programs for 3x3. Not in competition with 5-on-5. I think they complement each other, especially when you're kids, to develop, like I said, different skills. But it's its own discipline in an Olympic sport now, which is going to, cause people to invest in it differently. I just think there's so much potential to invest in 3x3 basketball because it is an international event and more people are watching. So I'm excited to see how it grows and also support, for sure, this next wave of women who are going to start playing it. I'm not done with it yet, but I'm very excited to see like who's going to come up and who we can, bring into the fold and help to be also on the world stage.
Katherine, you mentioned obviously you're not done, which I'm sure a lot of fans are happy to hear. What's next for you, and where can people catch you at the next big event for women's 3-on-3?
Yeah. Well, we are heading out on Monday to China for our World Tour finals.
Nice.
So we'll be in China next week. And we're going to be competing September 7th and 8th in Hangzhou. I don't think I said that right, but there. So you can watch on YouTube, follow the tournament on womenseries.fiba3x3.com, I believe it is. And after that, that's the end of the 3x3 tour season. So aside from that, there will be one tournament, I believe, in December for the Americup, and then start up again next spring, summer. So it's been a whirl of a summer, but super grateful and excited for what's next.
Katherine Plouffe joining us now, Canadian Olympian on the basketball court. 3x3 is the forte. Now, the experience is one thing. You talk about the growth of the game, which is great as well. What do you think, and what can you say about how basketball in your time playing has grown, and where could it go? Because we just saw the men's side have a decent showing. I know we wanted more from them. The women have been strong. You've been a part of that program. We're seeing 3x3 rise to more prominence. Like, what is the trajectory in your mind of this, and you being a big part of it with your sister and your team?
That's a good question. I don't know where it's going to launch in terms of media and involvement. I see the potential as an athlete to actually hold the bar high for people who are watching, like for kids who are watching, because there's all this eyes on sports and athletes as there is in general. I just think it's going to be a responsibility of people playing, people on the screens, to raise the bar higher for how we conduct ourselves on the court, having character. There's just a lot of potential to influence in a positive way.
Right.
So I don't know how it's going to grow in terms of the growth in numbers of the public eye watching, but I see huge potential in athletes raising the bar of character and being good role models and doing good for our communities. The potential for that is limitless. Right. And so I see that as the biggest growth that we could make in taking personal ownership of my own self, and my teammates do that as well. So that's how I would look at that question there.
Fair enough. Okay. This one's the most hard-hitting, important one. Favorite memories. I know, on the court you wanted to medal, obviously, but from the Paris Olympics, and then Gager and I are both super curious about this. Did you get a chance to meet Ray Gunn from Australia?
Okay, I'll answer your second question first to disappoint you. No,
darn,
didn't. I know. Yeah. First question. Yeah, I think my favorite experience was playing against the home team, playing against France.
Nice.
I think our day 3, it was electric. Like it was so loud in there, so many people. We were yelling at each other from about like 6 inches away and couldn't hear anything.
Wow.
And so it's just like that type of environment under the lights. You're playing for, in the Olympics. It was just a really cool experience. We won, obviously. That's why it felt so good. But always feels good to beat France. Yeah, that was one of my favorite memories for sure.
Katherine, it always intrigues me when siblings are on the same team. Obviously, playing with your sister for a long period of time. I've played with some twins in the past in hockey, and it's funny how they hold each other accountable. Is there any sometimes uncomfortability between you and your sister where your teammates are like, "Hey, are you guys okay?"
You know what? Not on the court.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
But I think like it's interesting. I think being a twin is so fascinating myself. Like if I have twins in the future, I will have a leg up on how to handle that situation. But yeah, I think we just know each other so well, and we're our biggest supporter first of all, but we also have a high standard for each other because we know what each other's capable of. And so, a mistake that another teammate would make, they would not hear of it. It'll be only encouragement, and then our first reaction to each other is like, okay, you should have done better.
Yeah.
So there's that high standard for each other where I think that's where different responses might come from, but also like we're each other's biggest supporters. So it's like that sibling, you have the most friction with people you're closest with because you see all each other's flaws exposed. But also we love each other. So that's the first and foremost. And we're working on our reactions. So
perfect.
We're not perfect.
But you're pretty darn good. And it's good to see that there's more of a limelight being put on 3x3 and on obviously the women's side. And hopefully that comes with more support for you guys financially. And then the success on the court continues to happen as well. And I know you continue to wave the maple leaf proudly alongside your sister and your team. And that's what's to most people and fans, the most important thing. And then the results will come too. So, hey, it was great to meet you yesterday. I really appreciate you hopping on the morning show today. Best of luck in China. And I know you're going to keep kicking butt. And I look forward to catching up with you again, Katherine. Thanks for hopping on today.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks, Katherine. Good luck in China.
Yes, Katherine Plouffe, Canadian Olympian, her and Michelle, her twin sister, leading the charge, 3x3 on the women's side. They were the favorite going in.
Yeah, I know.
And the last second buzzer beater to lose to the U.S. for the bronze medal. That's tough. Tough go. It was getting pretty rough. Like it was a physical.
It's physical.
Tournament.
Like, when I talked to Paul Sir about it, it's aggressive basketball. Like you can't. It's not what you normally see. Yeah. Right. So.
And it's aggressive. And like I said, reading articles leading up to the Olympics, like getting the funding, it hasn't been particularly easy. So they continue to be one of the best teams in the world, top ranked. And I know it's early days of 3x3 relatively, but that support will continue to grow. And it's good to see that on the basketball side, there has been success and growth and onwards and upwards. And, a couple of girls from Edmonton kicking butt on the international stage. Absolutely fantastic to see. And a big thank you to Katherine for hopping on. I was like, can you hop on at like 7? She's like, nope.
Nope.
Like, well, we already have Hernan at 7. They're like, what about 8? She's like, that's a little early. I'm like, 8:10? She's like, how about 15? I'm like, yes. Done. So a big thank you to Katherine Plouffe, Canadian Olympian, Edmontonian, representing the Maple Leaf proudly on the international stage.
Talking with Sir, it was like he was saying it's most likely going to be a podium for them.
Yeah,
so
it was so close.
It was so close.
It was right there.
Yeah.
Really cool sport, variation of basketball. If you haven't checked it out.
And they're going to have that again
FIBA
next
3x3
year in the summer here, too.
At the fan park.
Fan park.
Beside Roger Place.
Yeah.
Put the tent you saw at the Olympics, if you caught it, is basically what they have here. They have like stands around it. They do a great job.
I had friends that went and said it was fantastic.
The games are quick, too.
Yeah.
I think it's like 10 minutes.
Action.
Yeah.
It's usually a nice day. So
it's the best part. So huge thank you to Katherine Plouffe for joining us. All right, we need to get to a sports update with Zach to come. When we come back, we will get to Sobeys and Safeway Liquor Beer of the Week with Blake over at Tail Gunner Brewing Co. Zach to come, take it away.
Some devastating news coming out of the NHL this morning with the passing of Columbus Blue Jackets forward Johnny Gaudreau. Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew were struck by a car last night while bike riding in Salem County, New Jersey. Both were pronounced dead on scene. Johnny Gaudreau was 31 and his brother Matthew was 29. Carolina Hurricanes forward Jesper Fast is expected to miss all of next season after undergoing neck surgery. The 32-year-old had 6 goals and 13 assists in 73 games last year for the club. Yesterday, the Golden State Warriors re-signed Steph Curry to a 1-year extension worth over $60 million. With the extension, Curry becomes the first NBA player to get paid $60 million to play a single season. Another big contract was signed with the San Francisco 49ers, extending wide receiver Brandon Ayuk to a 4-year deal worth $120 million. This contract ties him as the 5th highest paid receiver in the NFL. Regular season action kicks off Thursday night when the Ravens play the Chiefs. Catch Lieutenant Eric at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge every Monday and Thursday night for football throughout the entire season. In the Canadian game, Labor Day weekend kicks off tomorrow when the BC Lions duke it out against the Red Blacks. The big boss, Dustin Nielson, will be making the call for that 5 o'clock start. From Calgary, the Elks face the Stampeders on Labor Day Monday. Matthew Wannick and Jay Milne got you covered on the Green and Gold Kickoff show starting that day at 3. As for every Elks games, the boys will be live from the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Come on down and watch the game with the fellas. The wait is now over. Sit and Sleep is open. Celebrate with over 20,000 square feet of savings on the trendiest furniture, home decor, and mattresses. Apply for your Sit and Sleep card today to make no payment for 18 months interest-free and be entered to win your purchase up to $5,000 on furniture and home decor. Sit and Sleep is located just beside Planet Fitness in South Edmonton Common.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk. .35
in Edmonton. It is hour number 3 of the Nielson Show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola, Joaquin, Gage with you alongside Zach to come holding things down behind the control panel. It will be Sobeys and Safeway Liquor Beer of the Week coming up shortly. Gage, yeah, come on in, Gager. He's got the cold ones ready to go. We're going to get the glasses. Blake is standing by from Tail Gunner Brewing, and we'll get to that right away here. A couple of texts that have come in. You can text us. Paris Jewelers inbox 780-218-9999. Rusty Shackelford saying, Gager, will your Esty attire be a bow tie and your leather coat like a runaway Chippendale?
Maybe just bow tie.
Oh, hello. Okay. Mike Texan says, I met Katherine Plouffe at the gym one time and had a wonderful conversation with her. Then I met her sister Michelle at the gym weeks later, whom I confused for Katherine. And I also had a wonderful conversation with her. Great people, very proud of them. They are twins.
Yeah. If twins are funny, man, especially when you, probably in any type of line of work, but they treat each other different.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I remember at Notre Dame, the Ferraro brothers came to check it out.
Ah.
They were thinking of coming to Notre Dame in Saskatchewan.
Really?
And it was funny because they were inseparable. I mean, they were kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they finished each other's sentences. but then like we thought they were going to kill each other at one point. Like they started like wrestling and stuff, and they were fighting. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are these guys gonna are they gonna kill each other here? And it's funny. It's funny when you hang out with them.
Twins, man. Characters. Big thank you to Katherine Plouffe for hopping on today's edition of the Nielson Show. All right, let's get to it. Sobeys and Safeway Liquor Beer of the Week. There's the music. Here we go. All right. Time now for Sobeys and Safeway Liquor Beer of the Week. Zacticum's got the boys from Tail Gunner Brewing Co. up on the screen. Is that Blake and Kale? Is that what we're looking at? Do we have both of you on there?
No,
Hello,
you got both the brewers today. You got Blake and Devin.
Blake and Devin. All right. Welcome to the program, guys. Thank you for sending in some delicious cold ones. I love a good beer. Joaquin is the expert, though. Take what I have to say for what it's worth, but then what Gager has something to say about a beer. He is a amateur brewmaster himself.
Very amateur, but I want to keep my my Olympic status. That's the only reason. If it ever goes to the Olympics.
Well, there you go. Boys, tell us a little bit about Tail Gunner Brewing and what do the fine folks out there need to know?
Yeah, so we're in downtown Calgary, just kind of on the west end of downtown in Sinalta. And we focus a lot on lager brewing. We use some archaic brewing techniques called decoction mashing, which involves boiling the grain at different intervals. So all of our beers take a really long time. Everything is really slow here. We condition everything for a long time. So I think ultimately it's reflected in the quality of the product that we're able to put out of here, which is pretty drinkable beer, we think. But you'll have to be the judge.
Well, I'm sure. I've sampled some Tail Gunner before. I can't remember which one it was. Maybe it's one of these ones. My palate's quite extensive, so I'm sure I'll be able to recognize it. But tell us a little bit. How did you guys get started? Like, was this what were you doing before? Was this something you always wanted to do, or was like, no, screw it, let's go make some beer?
Yeah, so I've been working in the industry since I was in my early 20s. I got my start in Toronto. And one of those beers that you have there, Stone Cold Ledge, that's a collaboration with Great Lakes Brewing in Toronto. That's where I started working 11 years ago. I was about 7/8 through an English degree, and I had no other options. And we were moving to Toronto, my wife and I at the time, and applied to every brewery in Toronto. At the time, there were like 5 or 6. Got a call from those guys and kind of rose the ranks, school of hard knocks kind of thing, and never really looked back.
Love it.
And so tell us a little bit more about the brewery itself. Is this, I always like to maybe come in and have a look and see the vats, talk to the guys in the back and see what, usually there's a seasonal that's going on and the process of it. If I came to the brewery, what am I going to see and experience?
I'll let you field this one.
Yeah. So we run a pretty tight brewery. We always like to joke about how we make the most production per square foot, just because of how little space we have. But what Blake mentioned earlier about the archaic method that we use called decoction, it actually involves a third vessel in the brew house itself, just to be able to boil and cook the mash itself. So you walking into the back, you'll see some pretty tall tanks, but you'll also probably see a really weird vessel that you haven't seen before in another brewery. So that's kind of what separates us from other breweries that you've probably visited before.
I love it. Mad scientist back there. Just great.
Like I see you walking into a brewery and weaseling your way into the back for some free flats. Like that's just you.
Oh, I always think of and I'm dating myself, I know, but Strange Brew and falling into the vat.
Yeah, we're just a bunch of hosers down here. That's right.
Yeah, we all are. Devin and Blake from Tail Gunner Brewing joining us now on Sobeys and Safeway Liquor Beer of the Week. All right, boys, let's sample some of these fine refreshments. Where should we begin and take it away from here?
Well, I think our flagship beer is probably the first one to start with. That's the Linton Stevenson Czech Pilsner. That's kind of the navy blue can. The one over from that. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. I'll pass that along to Gager. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so when we were building the brewery, we got going 4 and a bit years ago here. And that's at that time, craft beer was really exploding in Calgary, and everybody was brewing hazy IPAs and fruity sour beers. And from the get-go, we thought, you know what, we're going to zig where other people are zagging, and we're going to focus our attention on lager brewing. So prior to that, I'd done some traveling in Central Europe and to Czech Republic, and got to go to Pilsner Urquell. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
Yes.
But yeah, at the you do a tour there. They do a traditional production in the caves underneath the brewery still. So, you know, they kind of take you around the whole brewery. At the end, they give you one beer that's open fermented from a big wooden barrel. And honestly, they could serve you anything down there. You're so thirsty at that point, it would taste like $1 million. It just so happens that it's one of the best beers you'll ever have in your life. And that was the light bulb moment for me. I was like, this is the kind of beer production I want to be pursuing for sure.
As someone who appreciates a good Pilsner and a Kolsch and generally sticks with lagers, I'm very much looking forward to this. Yeah, it smells great. I could crush these.
That's
all day, all weekend long.
Yeah,
Sweet.
you know, after what you mentioned and everyone kind of doing the hazy IPAs, the sours, this is a traditional like Czech Pilsner beer. Like
What am I getting at the finish? Like, because you get a little kick at the finish. Am I describing that right, boys? Like, how would you describe it?
I think so. So traditionally, Czech beer is hopped a little bit higher than German beers, but the thing with Czech beer is the water over there is quite soft. So without the minerals in the water, you can kind of hop the beer a little bit more highly, but it doesn't come across as being astringent or too bitter.
Mm-hmm.
So we're fortunate here at Tail Gunner. We have a reverse osmosis water system. So we replicate the water profile from Pilsen, Czech Republic.
I love that. I love that.
So the hopping process it's a dry hopped late before when do the hops actually go in?
All during the boil. So we don't do any hopping during fermentation or post fermentation. It's all during. We do a traditional 90-minute boil on all of our lagers. So we hop a couple times throughout that process. So we do like an early addition and then an addition, a couple additions right near the end of the boil.
And are they traditional Czech hops that you use with these too? Cool.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
we use 100% Czech raw materials. We get Czech malted barley, floor malted barley, and Czech hops as well. So it's a little bit more expensive and more difficult to procure than stuff that we could get locally, but we think it makes a difference in the final product for sure.
Something Jaromir Jagr would even enjoy.
Derek Van Dies from NHL.com was just in Prague, and he came back. He's like, I went to a bunch of pubs in the 3 days I was there. The beer is on a whole different level.
Well, our buddy Ladislav Schmid, who's no stranger to Calgary as well, he has strong opinions of a lot of regular Canadian beers as he should.
As he should. All right, boys. Devin and Blake, take us to our next beer to sample.
Yeah, I would say you probably want to do the Stone Cold Ledge. That's the one with kind of the blue and white can.
Yep.
Yeah. So you mentioned dry hopping previously. So this is essentially a riff on the Lindt Czech Pilsner that you just had. So the base beer is pretty similar, but for the hops, we use a Japanese hop called Sriracha Ace. And this is based on a beer that I used to brew when I worked at Great Lakes about 10 years ago. So the beer that we brewed there is no longer in production. So my old boss came out here in the spring and we brewed this beer together and we resurrected an old recipe. So
this is a new beer that you've created.
It's a brand new beer. We just canned it on Friday. You're probably the first person in Edmonton to be trying it.
I'm surprised you didn't drink it a day early. We have a beer here at Edmonton Sports Talk that we were supposed to drink together. Gager had one. It was in the fridge the day before. I'm just glad you didn't today. So
I've learned my lesson. I try to sample. I gotta know what I'm getting into. Right?
He refines his palate ahead of everybody else.
Cheers, Tommy. Here's to a good Labor Day weekend.
Here's to a good Labor Day weekend. All right. Like right off the get-go, I'm getting a hint of something. What is that hitting me right at that first bit?
Yeah, so with the dry hopping, you get more aroma when you put the hops in the fermenter. And the Sriracha Ace hop that we use, the Japanese hop, it's kind of polarizing. People either love it or they hate it. The traditional tasting note for that hop is lemongrass and dill. Dill is probably the prevalent tasting note. So it's funny because this kind of beer and this hop in particular, it really separates people that have been drinking beer for 1 or 2 years or 10 or more years. Because there's some famous beers that have used this hop. So we found with some of the people that are, a bit more seasoned beer drinkers in town, they've tried this beer and it's like a time machine. It takes you right back to the first time you had a beer with a flavor like that.
That's really fantastic, guys.
I like
that's a really, really good beer. I'm actually upset with you that you didn't send more of these, but
we'll just have to come down and visit.
I guess.
There you go.
Yes. Jeez, that's well done. Well done. Clicks for that one.
A round of clicks. Yeah, absolutely.
Holy smokes.
Okay.
Where to next?
I would say probably the gold can. That's our Felina Mexican style lager.
Yes.
Okay.
So for this one, we used 30% flaked corn when we brewed it, which was new to us. We've never used corn in the brewery before. So, it's kind of based on those traditional Modelos and Coronas, but then everybody seems to do their own riff on a lime lager. So we did our own spin on it. We used a Middle Eastern lime. They're called bloomy limes or black limes for slang.
Oh.
And they're lime from Persia that are boiled in salt water, like brine, and then they're sun-dried. And they kind of taste like lime Gatorade powder or like kind of iced tea powdered mix. It's a little bit salty, but a little bit tart.
Wow. Okay. As soon as you said the Gatorade powder, and I just spent 3 weeks dealing with Gatorade vats, I get it. Like, all right. You guys cheers this one, Devin and Blake.
All right.
Cheers
cheers,
to. It's kind of refreshing.
Yeah, a little salt. Yeah, I've never had the flaked corn is interesting to me. You guys are the mad scientists there.
Corn's kind of funny because it lightens everything up, right? It's not quite as bulky as not that I would consider an all barley beer bulky, but you can taste with the corn, like it's significantly lighter on your palate.
Definitely. That's
it's very,
very light, light tasting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say I can easily have a few of these.
Yeah. And 4.6 still not.
Yeah. And it wouldn't be cumbersome.
Yeah.
Is that a nice way to put it?
Yeah, I think you got it. I mean, by design, almost all of our beers are around 5% or under. I think most of our beers land around 4.6, 4.7%.
Okay.
So the idea is that you can have a couple and still keep your wits about you. Full flavor beer, but not necessarily drinking a 7 or 8 or 10% IPA.
Yeah.
That's a meal. All right. Devin and Blake joining us now from Tail Gunner Brewing Co. as we continue on Beer of the Week. Brought to you by Sobeys and Safeway Liquor. We've sampled 3 of 4. Guys, let's bring it home. Where to next?
Well, the last one is the teal can. That's Dame Dorothy, our hazy pale ale. Devin's our hop expert in-house here, so I'll let him introduce this one.
So this beer was designed to be more reminiscent of the original kind of hazy IPAs, hazy pale ales from probably 10-ish years ago. So still juicy, tropical fruit forward, but also a nice balance of pine and some bitterness as well to it. It's based off of a pretty famous beer brewed in Vermont called Edward from a brewery called Hill Farmstead, which is one of our favorites and probably one of the more influential beers in beer history. So wanted to kind of do our take on that and mix some new school haze with some old school haze.
I'll throw this at you guys. The hazy IPA, is it becoming more popular? Is it like guys and girls wanted to dabble in IPAs, but it's kind of your first toe in the water type of thing when it comes to not just diving in with a thick, heavy IPA? Is that a fair way to describe it?
Yeah, I would say so. IPAs of the past kind of originated in the West Coast. So those IPAs were a lot more bitter. And then probably about 10 years ago, the kind of New England, East Coast area in the States started to experiment with their own style of IPA where using the super soft water that they have and using some new kind of more fruit forward as opposed to pine and dank forward hops. So kind of progressed into the hazy IPA that we know now. And I think lots of people just really enjoyed the approachability of it.
Yes.
Like less bitterness, more drinkable, slightly sweeter, as opposed to like super dry and bitter like an old school IPA.
I always like to get into you go into the stores, you look at the cans, the ones that pop usually draw your eye towards them. What was the looking at Dame Dorothy? Why was who did the artwork first of all, and why this type of label on this beer?
Yeah, so when the brewery was getting going, the owners here, Kale and Mike, they'd be able to speak more to that. But the whole tail gunner thing kind of harkens back to the greatest generation in the 1940s. You know, with everything that was going on in the world at that time, people kind of had to band together and and work together to kind of persevere through World War II and all that stuff. So, I think the idea is that like Dame Dorothy kind of tries to embody the spirit of that time and that generation.
Cool.
Badass name, badass beer. You got the last cheers there.
Just everyone, stay safe this weekend. Have a great Labor Day weekend, and let's look forward to a prosperous fall together.
I love it. Nicely done, Gager. All right, let's try this hazy IPA.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Like a juice box.
Oh, it's great. As soon as I cracked it, guys, you could smell the citrus and pine right away, and I that's so good. Great job. I had a different tail gunner, I think. I probably had too many of them. Usually I indulge a little bit too much. But this is a fantastic job. Can you what beer is the Sobeys at Sobeys this weekend at Sobeys Safeway Liquor?
Yeah, the one that you're holding there, the Lint Stevenson Czech Pilsner.
Okay, perfect.
Go pick them up, $16.99. You're saving a couple of bucks there on a 4-pack. Fantastic beer. Boys, before I leave you, we're going into a Labor Day Classic. What's going to happen between the Stamps and the Elks this weekend?
I don't know. I'm a Lions fan, so don't ask me.
Nice.
Right.
Touchdown. Well, he's from the mean streets of Kits.
Yeah, that's right.
Right on.
Yeah, I've got old family that played for the Lions, so yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
I grew up watching CFL with my dad, but you know what? I'll call my dad. I'll ask him later. He'll know. He's a big CFL apologist. Yeah.
I love it. You know what? The rivalries on the field may be strong and passionate, but the love when it comes to beer in our great province remains and it's constant. So, boys, great job. These are delicious beers, and thanks for hopping on to give us the story and a little taste.
You got it. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Having us.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. There's Devin and Blake, Tail Gunner Brewing Co. down in Calgary. Fantastic beers. Honestly,
They're really good. I know people, and I've had friends go, Gager, are they that good? And I'm like, I'm serious. These are very unique. And like they said, the thing, there's a lot of sour beers, a lot of these are, and the one that's on sale at Sobeys Safeway Liquor, the Czech Pilsner, that is perfect for Sunday and Monday because it's going to be hot. Get those nice and chilled, and you will not, I guarantee you will not regret having 4 of those in your fridge on those days.
Linton Stevenson is the beer of the week, and $16.99 Sobeys Safeway Liquor. And if you want a GC to Sobeys Safeway Liquor, text in to the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. Beer me.
Beer me.
Beer me. We want to hook up a GC there. This has been a great show. Gager, always fun working with you.
Yeah, man, you
Thank
too.
You. And I'm looking forward to watching, seeing, hearing ESD Afternoons with you and Hernan Salas. Anything else? There's just some great texts that came in today. Anything else you want to hit on?
Oh, we usually at this point we ask what we learned on the show today.
Yeah, what did we learn today?
God, did I learn anything on the show today? No, I learned that there's good people out there that when tragedy occurs to someone else, they're in today's world we're just it's so cynical and things, and it's nice to see an outpouring of emotion for people, and I think although it's usually this is the long weekend, everyone looking in the backs of people's minds and in their thoughts is the Gaudreau families.
Yep.
And that life's precious, and let's all be safe this weekend. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you back here when things are really going to heat up at EST.
Very well said. Beautifully done. And big thank you to Katherine Plouffe and Hernan Salas for hopping on. And to everybody who watched, listened, and tuned in, we thank you so very, very much. On behalf of Zach DeCombe, Joaquin Gage, and myself, Tom Gazzola, enjoy the rest of your Friday and the long weekend. We will talk to you later. Have a good one.